What's going on, fellow A-Plusers? It is I, your host as always, Adam Perez, coming through once again with a brand new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC television, movie news right here over on our YouTube page, streaming live for you guys over on YouTube, along with us over on our Facebook page, and even over on Twitch today, ladies and gentlemen. So if you happen to be joining us from all three realms, hello to you. Hopefully your Sunday morning is definitely kicking off right. Me and Yoda got some cup of Joe ready to certainly go for you guys. That looked really weird, just having a headless Yoda just come off to the screen like that, a little morbid. But good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys are certainly having a fantastic weekend. I definitely am. We had a great episode of A Plus More Phenomenal on Saturday afternoon. If you guys certainly joined us then, we got some playoff football that's going to be happening later on this afternoon that I'm really looking forward to, and a ton of topics for us to certainly get into. 6 topics that we're going to be breaking down for you guys today, and we even have some honorable mentions at the top, some topics that maybe didn't quite make the cut, but definitely wanted you to be aware of it. And then at the end of the show, as always, we will be getting into your guys' live viewer questions. How do you submit a live viewer question? I'm glad you guys ask each and every week. Thank you so much for reminding me. Go to aplusopinions@gmail.com. That's aplusopinions@gmail.com. Feel free to submit any questions that you certainly might have, whether it's a news article, a theory, a rumor, a movie you watched, a television series you're into that you want to talk about or comment about. Feel free to go ahead and submit your questions over to us again at aplusopinions@gmail.com. You could send them anytime throughout the week, but we definitely will be getting to them at the end of the show. But it's not just myself here today. Oh no, while we still do not unfortunately have the entire group here today, we at least certainly do have the other man in charge, Stuart Branscombe. What's going on, buddy? Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Good to be back. Although I gotta be honest, it's so weird. This week has been going by so fast that I feel like we just did Hero Report like a few days ago.
It really has, doesn't it? I was like, I feel like I was just here.
Yeah, it might have been because I did the Superman review with Indies, and we did it kind of like it was Hero Report because all the things I wanted to talk about I had kind of lined up the same way we would with our articles. So maybe that's what it is. But yeah, I just got this feeling like, man, it feels like it hasn't been that long since the last episode.
I definitely think that's what it is, especially you guys. You guys definitely talked a lot about Superman and Lois this past week. You had about 3 episodes that you guys went ahead and kind of did a back-to-back review all in one. So if you guys are watching Superman and Lois, we do have Superman and Lois reviews up for you guys. As Stuart said, him and Indy did episodes 1 through 3 this past week. So definitely go ahead and check it out. We also currently have Naomi up there for you guys. We're also doing reviews for Book of Boba Fett here on our channel. If you want to go ahead and check out some of our other content, Batwoman, I believe, is back up and getting ready to go. I believe Indy will probably start getting to some of the Batwoman stuff once again. But a lot of content up on a page for you guys as well. So thank you very much, Stuart, for certainly joining us. Who do we got? Joining us in the live chat, we got Marcelino Vasquez, as always, certainly coming through. Thank you very much, Marcelino. He says, I started watching Peacemaker. I was planning to watch after I finished Supergirl and Wheel of Time, but YouTube kept trying to spoil the show for me. So I said, screw it, I'll watch it now. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm actually having a really good time watching Peacemaker. I'm actually quite surprised. Datilla, what's up? Good morning to you. She says, I wanted to watch Peacemaker in the Royal Rumble. Disappointed that didn't happen. That would have been fantastic if John Cena rolled down in his Peacemaker outfit. Why didn't it happen? The Rock
would have been the best cross promotion ever.
I totally agree. Like The Rock let Vince McMahon hold on to the golden egg from Red Notice for like an episode of Raw. I would have thought that WB and maybe Vince McMahon would have worked together to help promote Peacemaker a little bit by having John Cena come down. But I guess that's not the case. But it would have been fantastic.
Oh
I would have loved it.
They could have had the first official crossover with Black Adam and Peacemaker on WWE.
I love that idea. I do love that. I'm sorry. I would have laughed out loud, but I didn't want to spill out my coffee. I do love that idea. We'll see. Maybe another year. Maybe another year. But thank you very much, guys, for certainly joining us. And listen, as we have some stragglers that wind up joining us in the live chat, make them feel at home. Make them certainly feel welcome. And feel free to always give your thoughts. Remember, at the end of the day, guys, these are just our A+ opinions. But we always want to know yours. What do you guys think about some of the topics that we're going to be discussing? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat. Or if you're watching this after the live stream, feel free to go ahead and comment in the comment section box below, guys. Stuart, it's honorable mentions time, sir. Do you have one for us today by any chance?
Yeah. You could probably guess what it is because I sent it yesterday. Clerks 3 is basically done with the actual filming process.
Nice.
So now it's all post production. And yeah, you know me, I'm a huge Kevin Smith fan. So even if it's absolute garbage, I'll still probably enjoy it. Yeah. And I'm hoping they do a road show again because last time it was so cool when they were in LA and my brother and I got to see Kevin Smith live. Like that was a lot of fun. It was for his movie Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So hopefully they do the same thing for Clerks 3.
Now, when you say roadshow, is that just kind of like a traveling press conference sort of thing?
Yeah, basically, it's you're traveling for the premiere of your movie from one theater to another. So
Oh, that's
yeah, and Kevin
cool.
Smith usually does that.
That's cool. I didn't realize there was a premiere along with it. I just figured they would just like tour the country and go to different cities and states just to talk about it. But when they travel, they're also premiering the movie wherever they go.
Yeah, exactly. It's
That's
usually
cool.
like a premiere of the movie at whatever theater they're located at, followed by a Q&A.
That's pretty cool, man. I feel like LA, at least I've heard LA does a lot of those in regards to like the sit down sessions, talking to the cast and crew, Q&A session, and then premiere and then Q&A afterwards. Those are the type of like privileges we definitely don't get anywhere else. I feel like you have to live in Cali or LA to appreciate those type of things.
Mm. Yeah, for this one in particular, for the Jade Silent Bob reboot, I remember the theater we were in, it could seat a lot of people, but it wasn't necessarily the most comfortable seating. Like they were all like really small. And so I just kind of like imagine, I like don't see myself as that big of a guy, but I'm like imagining if I was just a little bit bigger, this would be very uncomfortable.
Oh, I didn't realize that, man. I didn't realize that. We'll
Yeah.
see if they release like tour dates for Kevin Smith. Maybe I'll definitely try and check one out. I've never been to a road show or anything like that before, so I think that would be pretty neat.
Yeah.
Hopefully, one day we can all score some tickets to a premiere and dress up all fancy and walk along the red carpet one day. I think that'd be pretty badass. I would love to go to a premiere one day. Yeah, I feel like I don't know anybody in Hollywood to score us tickets like that. I feel like an opportunity like that will come at me winning some sort of like lotto entry or like drawing to go out to be flown to some sort of premiere of a movie. You know what I mean? But I would love to do that one day.
Or you never know, maybe some big actor out there is just going to watch our podcast and be like, these guys need to come to our premiere.
Or Stuart, maybe you'll write a fantastic script that'll be picked up by Hollywood and they'll turn it into a
Oh,
movie and then you'll invite
hopefully.
us, man.
Fingers crossed. If 100% for sure, if like my movie ever gets picked up and it gets a premiere, you and Indy are definitely invited.
I don't even need to be first on the list. I just need to be on the list, Stuart. That's all I ask.
Mm. Oh yeah, my girlfriend's definitely going to be number one on the list.
Oh, see, oh, okay, that works for me. That works for me. All right, awesome, man. Well, thank you for that honorable mention, Stuart. I appreciate the heads up. Now, if they ever come out to Dallas, Texas, or Fort Worth area, maybe I'll go ahead and check them out. A couple other honorable mentions for you guys, real quick off the top. Uncharted did go ahead and drop a brand new poster, and I believe their final trailer, as the movie is set to go ahead and debut February 16th. I actually love this poster. This poster is probably one of my favorites out of the entirety of that we've seen so far, depicting the moment in the trailer and all the trailers I feel like that we see all the time of Tom Holland falling out the back of the airplane sort of thing. I am wondering if that's like the big climactic sort of battle or moment in the film sort of thing, because they keep rehashing the same one over and over again. But I actually like this last trailer more than any of the other trailers that I've seen. It still hasn't necessarily gotten me fully hyped. Look, this is a movie I think I'm going to see regardless, whether it's in the movie theaters or I probably might see it in the movie theaters. I do have myself an AMC Stubs membership, so I do get like 3 free movies a week sort of thing. So I may check it out just to check it out, or wait for it to drop on streaming service. Not truly looking super forward to this particular film, but I will say the last trailer at least did get me a little bit more intrigued. What about you, Stuart? Have you seen the newest little trailer that dropped?
No, I don't think I have.
How do you like the
Yeah,
poster?
I've been very lukewarm about this movie, but the poster, this one looks pretty cool. Definitely, reminds me of one of my favorite moments from Uncharted 2, which is, of course, I'm sure what they're going for.
Yes, most definitely. I totally agree. Couple other honorable mentions. The Batman marketing continues. We've been getting some really stellar posters, man, lately. This is more of a promotional tease poster. I love this. This is something I would love to have on my wall, honestly. I think they've been doing an incredible job in regards to just capturing the tone and the vibe of what this movie is, sticking to some of the familiar color schemes that we've seen so far, anytime we've seen a trailer or a promotion for it. So I absolutely love this promotional poster. We got a couple other ones too. I believe this might be the official poster, or maybe like a brand new teaser poster, if you will, on Unmask the Truth, it says here, with the big old question mark around Bruce Wayne. Not too bad. I certainly don't mind this one so much. But there is something about a vibe that some of the other teaser posters have given us. Whereas this is definitely a little bit much more on the nose. I love the Batmobile back there and everything. And then this past week, also Total Film, I believe they probably have a magazine article that's going to be talking a little bit more about the Batman here rather soon. But Total Film magazine released a brand new cover, which even though this is a magazine cover, Stuart, I would love this as a poster too. I love the idea of like this flare sending off the smoke, and you just seeing like the images of everybody. Like, I'm telling you, man, the marketing for the Batman has been fantastic, and everything that I see really does tend to just grip me in regards to the story they're trying to tell, the beautiful imagery, and truly just setting the tone for this film. What do you think of some of these posters, though?
I'll say this: the one that you just had up, so not this one, yeah, that one,
Uh-huh.
probably the only poster I'm not a fan of.
Yeah, it
With
feels more like superhero generic, right?
Yeah, generic superhero, but they wanted to keep that same like kind of filter that they had for throughout all the other promotional like
Mm.
materials, and it just the combination of the two doesn't work for me. But everything else, especially that last one you just put up, I absolutely agree with you. Like all the marketing that they've been doing for this movie, because they're so vague, because they're not showing a lot, it really kind of adds to showing you how much of a mystery this movie is going to be when you go into it.
I totally agree. Yeah, I will be looking for this image on in poster size somewhere. I don't know if I'm hoping somebody will rip this off of the Total Film magazine and turn this into like a 27 by 40 or something like that. Like something I can actually go ahead and put up on my wall, because I truly would love this. But you're right. Like I don't mind this poster so much, but it does feel like it just feels like your more generic movie poster, in the sense of, let's get all of our characters all into the middle of the poster sort of thing, so we can see everybody that's involved sort of thing. Like I do miss sort of the artistry and the creativeness of some movie posters that we used to get back in the day sort of thing. So I don't mind this one, but it feels a little too on the nose for me. But yeah, I'm loving everything else that I'm definitely seeing so far. And then last but not least, guys, one of the other topics for honorable mentions we're going to go ahead and bring up to you later on today. We did see a brief tease of the Halo television series a couple of weeks ago, but later on today, we're getting our official trailer this Sunday, actually later on this afternoon, guys. So the official Halo trailer for the Paramount Plus original series will be dropping. Apparently, it's going to be dropping during the AFC Championship game later on this afternoon. So the championship game begins at 3:05 Eastern time today, this afternoon. But the big series reveal is set to drop during the halftime show. So they're assuming it may be around 4:15 Eastern time, if you will. So at halftime is a little bit difficult to pin down. One of the articles says exactly, but it will be around this time, give or take a few minutes. So it feels interesting, Stuart, in the sense that we are ramping up for the Super Bowl. And the Super Bowl always have these big trailers and promotions and things like that attached. It seems as though maybe some of that is carrying itself over to the NFL championship games like 2 weeks prior, knowing how many people are certainly going to be watching these playoff games, to maybe put your best foot forward also. So it seems as though again, later on this afternoon for the AFC championship game around halftime, Halo will be dropping its first official trailer. I'm actually really pumped and excited for this, Stuart. I really want to see, because I loved what we got in the tease, but I definitely am ready to see more, honestly.
Yeah, what's kind of cool is that I think there's a movie theater that's actually going to be premiering the game at their theater. So for those attending there, they'll be able to watch this trailer on the big screen.
Ooh, that's pretty cool. I didn't know that, man. I did not know that. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to from this trailer, or when it comes to the series itself, that you're hoping to see explored?
I guess I hope they give us a little snippet of what we can expect from some of the action going into this, like what that's going to look like, some of the shootouts and everything.
Oh, I get you. I get you. Yeah, that'd be pretty cool to kind of see some action sequences taking place. But we'll see, guys. But let us know your levels of excitement when it comes to the Halo television series. Is there anything in particular that you would certainly like to see? I'm hoping it's a lengthy one. I'm hoping it's like a good minute and 30, maybe 2 minutes or so. So we'll see, and we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But other than that, Stuart, I think that's going to go ahead and actually wrap up our honorable mentions for the day. So if anything, I think it's time for us to go ahead and get into our main topics. To tell her real quick, she does say tonight's football game is a battle of California, North Cal, and NorCal and SoCal. Yeah, because we got the 49ers against LA Rams. You got any winners, Stuart?
Go Niners.
I like it.
I'm in San Francisco, so of course I gotta cheer for the Niners.
Yeah, I was gonna look at you weird if you said let's go LA. Like, man, you got to move, Stuart.
Suddenly our neighbors will just like force us all out. Like, no,
yeah.
unless you root for San Francisco, you are out of here.
Are your roommates big into wrestling? I mean, not wrestling, into football at all?
I think my roommate Julie is, but I could be wrong. We don't really have cable, so we're not able to keep up with it at the apartment. So I'm not sure if she's been keeping up the season or not.
Well, hey, just so you know, the championship game should be on national televised TV, so you should be able to catch it on like Fox, I think, and maybe CBS. I don't know if you guys have like little bunny ears there to pick up a little antenna to pick up some of the regular TV channels, but you should be good.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a website.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a way that you can find out and watch it. All right, guys. With that out of the way, I think it's time that we get into some main topics, guys. You ready to go ahead and tackle these with me, Stuart?
I am always ready to tackle topics on Hero Report.
Let's do it, man. Let's do it. So we're going to start from our main topic, which you guys saw at the top of the thumbnail. Masters in the Universe are back in the news, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, over the past couple of months, we've had a resurgence when it comes to He-Man and Masters of the Universe. We had a new animated television series, if I believe, over on Netflix that wind up dropping.
We actually had 2 animated shows on Netflix.
Yes, I was definitely getting to that. So because there are 2 animated shows. So we definitely got ourselves a series along with Kevin Smith's series that wind up actually dropping in 2 parts. So a lot of He-Man definitely on Netflix at this moment if you guys are really interested. And it seems as though the franchise is definitely going to continue to grow. There have been rumblings for years about the idea of a live action Masters of the Universe movie getting itself off the ground, and it's run into roadblocks and hiccups certainly along the way. We did have ourselves a He-Man that was previously cast. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it was Noah Santora. I could be pronouncing his last name wrong, but the gentleman actually went on to drop the role of He-Man and actually picked up another role in the upcoming Black Adam movie where he's going to be playing Adam Smasher. So they lost their He-Man, but it seems as though they have officially found him again. And honestly, Stuart, it seems as though with this particular casting, we may be off to the races in this movie actually happening and going into production rather soon. I am going to keep my fingers crossed. I will believe it. I won't believe it until I officially see it in front of the cameras. But this article is definitely giving me hope that He-Man might be coming back to, well, I can't technically say the big screen, but the live action screen. Let's go ahead and dive into some of this news here, Stuart, because I'm really eager to see what this Hollywood Reporter article is letting us know. So let's go ahead and pull this up for you guys. Masters of the Universe movie lands at Netflix. So it officially has a home. It's not going to be airing on the big screen over in movie theaters. It will be going to Netflix. And it seems as though Kyle Allen is set to lead as He-Man himself. The project was previously set up at Sony. So let's see what changes have been made and what we can certainly expect. So the article says the long-awaited live-action Masters of the Universe movie from Mattel Films has landed at Netflix with West Side Story actor Kyle Allen set to play the hero He-Man. The live-action feature, which is eyeing a summer 2022 start date. So it seems it's going to be here right around the corner in regards to actually filming. It will be directed by the Nee brothers, who did The Lost City, which I was actually a big fan of the Lost City movie. From a screenplay they wrote with Shang-Chi scribe David Callahan. We also have Todd Blake, Jason Blumthal, and Steve Tisch, who will produce. And everybody will be overseeing the project for Mattel Films. The Masters of the Universe lore centers around an orphan named Adam, who discovers he is a prince destined to be a savior of a faraway land and must quickly learn how to use his power to save his home from the evil Skeletor. It says Sony will retain the rights, both theatrically and streaming, to the film over in China. Netflix does not operate in that particular country, which I did not know whatsoever. Allen's most recently appeared on screen in Steven Spielberg's reimagining of the classic musical West Side Story, which I still have not had the opportunity to check out. I love me a good musical. I definitely have to find some way to watch this movie so I can definitely see what Kyle Allen is certainly bringing. I feel like anytime anybody's a part of a musical, they've got to have incredible range, if you ask me, Stuart. So this actually does fascinate me to see what Kyle Allen will definitely bring. To the live action version. And then it just says that Netflix is already home to two Masters of the Universe adaptations, a 2D animated series, and then you also have a CG animated series as well, which will soon debut its second season. So a lot of Masters of the Universe to certainly enjoy, Stuart. And I cannot wait for this. It feels as though with them having an idea that they want to go ahead and start shooting in the summer of this year, like they actually have themselves a plan. Netflix is going to be taking care of this movie also. So let me ask you, Stuart, do you feel like this movie's in pretty good hands right now? Not sure if you've seen Kyle Allen in anything else or if you've seen him in West Side Story, but just look at him visually. He definitely looks like he probably could fit the part pretty well. I'm not sure exactly how much bulking Homeboy's got to do or if he's been bulking up since he wrapped up West Side Story. But what do you think in regards to all the information you just heard in regards to this?
I do think he's a good choice in terms of like build and just overall look for He-Man. I was like going through his IMDb and I don't recognize too many of the movies that he's been in, but I was able to look through some of his photos, and what works about him is that he's definitely pretty well built, but he's also he's got that type of body kind of similar to shoot, I forgot the actor's name, the guy that plays Kylo Ren, where it's like they're
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, that's it. Yeah, like clearly they are in good shape, but they're really good at hiding it too if they need to. And I feel like he's kind of in that position where if you're going to play He-Man, He-Man's supposed to kind of, have two different, builds to him. He's supposed to have the He-Man side of him where he's ripped, but then the Adam side of him where he's supposed to be kind of like a scrawnier, spoiled like prince. And so I do feel like with how he's able to kind of like hide his muscle in a lot of his photos, I think that it might be the big thing that the producers were looking at. And that might be like one of the big things that made them go, oh, this guy would be perfect for Adam. So yeah, like obviously I'll have to wait and see. I don't know how he is as an actor, but I do think that just build wise, they did choose a really good actor for that.
Yeah, I am kind of interested to see like how they're going to pull off the Prince Adam and He-Man transformation. With Prince Adam in the cartoon series, at least. I mean, he always has, he doesn't show himself like He-Man does, with the bare chest and the thighs just kind of poking out sort of thing, right? Like Prince Adam always has some sort of clothes on. So I do wonder if they will just fit Kyle Allen with some clothes so you can't really see his muscular form, if you will. And then when he does transform, then you see like the muscles underneath sort of thing. Like, are they just going to CGI muscles on this guy sort of thing? Like, I'm really curious to see, like, will they film all of the Prince Adam sequences first and then have him gain his muscle and weight 3 months later and then go back to filming with him all buff like Dwayne Johnson? He's definitely not going to get that big, but it'll be interesting to see how they wind up filming this. I have no idea how they're going to tackle it.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't try to do anything that would be too extreme for the actor, because like what a lot of actors will do if they have like a shirtless scene coming up is they'll basically kind of like dehydrate themselves for like a day. So they'll go an entire day without drinking any water, basically work up a big sweat in order to get that one shot that looks really good in the right lighting. Because a lot of the actors that you see with those amazingly detailed abs, they don't look like that 24/7. They look like that for that one specific shot. So I hope they don't try to make him go through that so they can have that for every shot where he's supposed to be He-Man, because I feel like that would be very unhealthy to do that like that often for an actor. So if they wanted to be safer with it and just go the CG route and have them look like the Spartans from 300, I think that might actually be an okay route to go with if they want to do it that way.
You mean not everybody in 300 was ripped like that?
I mean, they were all in good shape, don't get me wrong, but like, that added detail, yeah, all CG.
I will be interested to see what this like just what the vision and the imagery of this movie is going to turn out to be. For me, I'm really excited for this. Growing up as a kid, I personally used to love the original Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. I mean, it was a terrible movie. Was it Nev Campbell? No, who else was in that movie? The girl from Friends, I believe. Damn, I can't remember her name now off the top of my head. But I used to love that movie growing up as a kid. It definitely was a guilty pleasure for me. It was that movie and Return of the Jedi. I used to rent all the time at the video store when I was a little kid. So the idea of being able to kind of see another live action version of Masters of the Universe come back, I think would work extremely well. For me, it is one of those things where, Stuart, I thought for a while there, didn't we have somebody from like not Kong Skull Island, but I thought somebody from Godzilla versus King Kong was established to this movie. Oh, you know what? No, I think Thundercats. I thought they were mentioning the idea of like Thundercats maybe coming live action, because I was just thinking to myself for a second,
Oh, yeah.
the hollow earth that we got introduced to. I do remember that being just like vision wise, just imagery wise, it definitely felt like Thundera to me. So I got the two franchises mixed up there for a second, but I am really interested to see what Masters of the Universe is certainly going to bring. I do think that there's something fascinating about a live action for that, outside of just the 2D and the CGI animation that we've certainly have gotten so far. The people they have directing from The Lost City, I was a pretty big fan of that movie. I'm really interested to see how they tackle this, and the fact that we've got at least one half of the Shang-Chi scribe team and David Callahan. Just thinking about Shang-Chi, I'm not exactly sure what all was Dave's ideas, if you will, from that movie. But I think if you go back and you think about Shang-Chi, some of the creature designs, some of the fantasy aspects and lore that were kind of put into that movie, the big dragon battle and things like that too. There are some elements into that writing that I think could actually go really a long way when it comes to a Masters of the Universe movie. So for me, I'll be interested to kind of see how they adapt it, how they bring it to life, what elements of science and magic and things like that and sci-fi they're gonna somehow intertwine to kind of bring to live action form. So there's definitely a lot to be excited about, but I definitely can understand maybe some of the hesitation and worry, because listen, the last Masters of the Universe movie wasn't necessarily the best ever created, but it, you know, was back in like the 80s and 90s type of thing. So times have definitely have changed, and so has storytelling and technology. So maybe this is the perfect opportunity and perfect time for Masters of the Universe to get itself a live action feature. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing about the original movie is just, the time it came in, and not to mention its budget. They weren't allowed to do as much, so they had to, like, they could show us a little bit of Eternia, but a majority of it had to take place on Earth for money reasons. But now I feel like even with the lower budget type of action movies, now you could still pull off having the entire movie taking place in Eternia. So I think that's one thing that a lot of He-Man fans will be able to look forward to, is now we can get a live action He-Man where the whole thing is in Eternia. In Eternia. Wow, I just realized how hard that is to say together, in Eternia. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun, and with Netflix producing it, I'm sure it'll be like a good enough budget. Like it'll give it what the budget that it needs, but it won't be like just don't go into it expecting it to look like I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a recent fantasy movie. Don't expect it to look like the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series.
Oh.
It'll still look pretty good, I imagine, because like seeing what Netflix has done with The Witcher, for example,
Oh, that's
they
true.
know how to make fantasy feel really awesome.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you there. So I do think it's in good hands going over the Netflix. Probably a better bet in regards to having to put it out in the box office, honestly. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing what Castle Grayskull is going to look in live action. And then I guess for me, my next casting announcement, I got to know who Skeletor is going to be. Give me He-Man, give me Skeletor, and I'm good to go. So we'll see what happens. But guys, we definitely want to know your thoughts in regards to this. Kyle Allen from West Side Story, another film that I definitely have to go ahead and check out, has officially been cast as He-Man/Prince Adam in this upcoming movie. What's your level of excitement, especially with it landing over at Netflix? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. Marcelino Vasquez does say Kyle Allen looks like Ben McKenzie, the actor who played Jim Gordon on Gotham. He actually kind of does. I would definitely agree with you there. He also says Netflix She-Ra is still the GOAT in the He-Man hardcore He-Man fans who grew up watching the original cartoon and love it say that Netflix She-Ra is the best thing to come out of the He-Man franchise. Listen, She-Ra got like 5 seasons over on Netflix. Like, it actually wind up being more impressive than I personally even gave it credit for. The fact that it stuck around for such a long time, while I personally haven't watched it, the people that I know that have watched She-Ra says it definitely holds its own for sure in regards to it. So I think it speaks volumes as to how many seasons, and the fact that you even said that, Marcelino, I think definitely showcases that maybe a lot of people have been sleeping on She-Ra, honestly. I actually haven't watched the second half of the Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe Revelations. Have you, Stuart?
Yeah, I enjoyed it for the most part. I would say that it was overall just okay. I don't remember what I did have one major complaint about it by the end of it, but I think like overall, definitely the good outweighs the bad. It was a fun watch regardless. And then yeah, same with She-Ra. I also have seen She-Ra all the way through, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I do really hope that crossover that both Kevin Smith and I forgot their name, but the creator of She-Ra, both would be interested in doing. So, both the creators are interested. So it's really all about whether or not Netflix decides to greenlight it. But I do hope that happens.
Yeah, I hope that happens too. I think that'd be actually pretty cool. And I definitely need to finish the Kevin Smith because I enjoyed the first part, but I never got the opportunity to kind of see how it wind up concluding. And I haven't bothered to check out that 2D animated series or that CGI animated series that they have. Have
Yeah.
you?
I tried watching the first episode of the
Me
3D
too. I
animated
couldn't do
one.
it.
It's not for me. I'm definitely not the target audience. Let's just put it that way.
I get you. I get you. Well, yeah, season 2 of that is certainly coming up. But guys, listen, if you've had the opportunity to check out some of the Masters of the Universe world stuff that's out there, whether that be She-Ra, the 2 animated series, what's your level of enthusiasm now for this live action? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, Stuart, I think we'll wrap up that story, and then we'll move on to our next topic. You ready to go ahead and get into some maybe DC news? We got some brief DC and Marvel news today, but we'll start off with some DC. You ready?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely excited for this one.
This one actually kind of surprised. I don't want to say surprised me, but kind of came out of nowhere as of yesterday. As the Arrowverse does continue to grow in its own shape or form over on the CW universe. Again, we've got shows like Naomi that's currently out there, Stargirl on its second season, Superman and Lois on its second season as well. So definitely continuing to inject some new life when it comes to the Arrowverse. But trust me when I say there are definitely vets that are certainly still running the show here, and that especially goes for Grant Gustin when it comes to The Flash. That's currently in its 8th season. I think over the past couple of maybe season or two, we've been kind of throwing out the question as to how long will Grant Gustin stick around, and how long will the Flash season actually, or Flash series itself, continue on, right? This is the 8th season for this show. Around this time, Arrow itself was actually wrapping up as the lead show from the Arrowverse, and it seems as though the Flash is certainly tying that series with how many seasons it certainly has. And Stuart, it seems as though the Flash will officially beat Arrow come next season. As we have official information here that Grant Gustin is set to return at least one more time, Stuart. Let's go ahead and dive into this article here. This is from Deadline.com, letting us know that Grant Gustin has officially signed or is nearing a new deal, paving the way for a season 9 renewal over at the CW. So he's coming back. He's coming back. It says the CW's flagship DC series, The Flash, is headed to a 9th season. Star Grant Gustin is finalizing a new contract to return as a title character in the hit show, with Greg Berlanti Productions and Warner Brother Television sources said. It says, I hear the pact with Gustin has agreed to is for 1 year. A multi-year offer was on the table. According to the sources, the new contract comes with a sizable raise for the actor, whose salary is believed to be north of $200,000 an episode. That's not even a season, an episode. I also hear Gustin has capped his involvement at 15 episodes next season. How many episodes they usually have a season now, Stuart? Are they cutting back on them?
Usually it's 23 episodes, but like last season, because of the pandemic, I think it was 18 episodes, and then I think it's going to be the same with this season. So that leads me to think that like probably for season 9 there will be 18 episodes, but he's only going to be in 15 of them.
15
So
of them.
yeah,
Okay.
they might have an excuse for him to like not be in 3 of the episodes.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll figure something out. With Gustin on board, the Flash is expected to renew for season 9 by the CW and become the longest running Arrowverse series on the network, eclipsing Anchor Arrow, which ended its run after the 8th season. It could be the Flash's final chapter. The network usually picks up the vast majority of its current slate this time of year because of potential CW majority ownership sale. The network may give early renewals to fewer shows this time, with The Flash fully expected to be on the list with continuing strong linear and digital performance. It says there have been a lot of apprehension among the Flash fans whether Gustin would commit to another series, especially with Stephen Amell's decision not to continue on the Arrow at the same juncture led to the show's end after the 8th season. Because the Flash's great legacy at CW, the decision had to be made before the series had wrapped production on season 8 to give it a proper send-off should Gustin opted to move on. He has spoken about his journey on the Flash, including his comments at the end of season 7. This is what Grant Gustin says. He says, listen, I may never have a job this cool ever again. That this many people actually tune in to watch. So I'm going to take it for granted. 7 seasons is for most of the cast actually, but I think it would be great if we can continue on after that. So it definitely does seem as though Grant Gustin understands just one, how hard it is to be an actor and land these massive roles, if you will, in regards to sticking around and having a show that's watched on a regular basis like this. So he definitely understands the idea of the importance of sticking around for sure. But it looks like we've got one more season coming out of Grant Gustin. Are you surprised by this, Stuart? Does this make sense to you? And are you expecting Flash season 9 to be the last?
I don't know if I'm expecting it to be the last, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it was the last. My assumption with the Flash was that they were going to try to get it up to 10 seasons to match Smallville, because that seems to be what Grant Gustin's goal is, from according to a lot of his interviews. So yeah, it makes sense that he wants to keep it going. And I know a lot of people are like thinking this might be his last because he only signed on for one season, but he also did that with season 8. And the reason I think he's doing that now
Mm.
is because he can. Because before, when you're an actor, you can't really be too picky or choosy about your contract. So when they originally signed him on for like a 5 or 7 season deal, as like kind of a younger actor without that much experience, you can't really say no to that. But now that he's an actor with a lot more experience, and now the CW actually really wants him as the Flash, wants him to stay on for the Flash as long as they can, he can now renegotiate contracts, get more money, more and more every season. He can get more and more money. So I think that's why he didn't sign on for a 10th season yet, because it's like, $200,000 an episode is great, but let's see if we can get it up to $250,000 an episode next season. I'm sure that's probably like the goal he's going to probably try to get.
Yeah, yeah, it would be. I hope that he tries for at least another season for sure. I mean, the article does mention everything, with the sale that's currently going on of CW and things like that, or like the potential sale if they're ever able to sell it off to somebody else. I do wonder. I think that's why they mentioned the idea that they're trying to get ahead of maybe any of the changes that certainly might happen to possibly renew some of these shows quicker. So I am kind of hoping that maybe we do get ourselves a 10th season of The Flash, as long as the writing continues to be up to par, if you will. But I can see Grant Gustin continuing to do just the 1 year deals until he's ready to go ahead and finally hang it up, sort of thing. I definitely I am kind of curious as to somehow some Flash fans feel with the trajectory that the past couple of seasons have taken, if they feel like it's just treading water at this point in time and it should end sooner rather than later, or would they rather just continue to try and milk the hell out of Grant Gustin for as long as they can to try and get up to 10? I mean, what's your mindset? What would you like to see?
I mean, if we're going to continue to get the writing that we got from season 7, then yeah, I would definitely prefer that the Flash just end already. But the Armageddon arc, while not perfect, definitely had some issues with it for sure. I thought it was like such a big improvement, and so I want to give the show one more chance with this new season. And because maybe after kind of looking back on season 7, it could have been related to the pandemic for why the writing wasn't just up there like it usually is. Like maybe the
Mm.
writers not being able to communicate in the same room had something to do with it. So I want to wait and see with this season how it is, and if it's like an improvement from season 7, then yeah, I think that'll determine my overall excitement about the show continuing going forward.
And I can understand that, because I think for me, when it came to a show like The Arrow, seasons 3 and 4 were just absolutely miserable to me.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a portion of me that thought to myself, oh well, season 5 has got to be the end of this show. I think they were running out of flashback sequences for Oliver Queen's story from his time when he wasn't, when he was on the island, sort of thing. And so I was like, oh well, they're kind of getting to the end of that story. Seasons 3 and 4 were really, really bad to me, sort of thing. But the one thing that Arrow really did come season 5, come season 6, is it almost feels like it reinvented itself, or remembered what it certainly was as a show, and it really picked up that momentum again. I don't know if I've ever felt that way about a show before, where it was great, fell off a cliff, and then rebuilt itself to really push for like 4 more really solid and enjoyable seasons of that show. So I do think that there is an opportunity out there for despite the hiccups and the mistakes that we might have seen over the, season 6, maybe season 7 or so, maybe there is some hope that a season 8 and a season 9 of the Flash kind of turns things around, and maybe we do get ourselves up to 10, because I honestly did not expect Arrow to last 8 seasons.
Mhm.
But they certainly did once they immediately turned it around. So who's to say that the Flash can't find that life again and go out on a really high note come a potential 10th season? But whether or not we get to 10, guys, we at least are definitely getting to 9 with Grant Gustin inking a 1-year deal to certainly return. Will he ink more afterwards? We'll definitely have to see. But we want to know your thoughts, guys. Again, these are just simply our A+ opinions, but we want to know yours. What do you think about Grant Gustin returning for a 9th season of The Flash? Let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. All right, Stuart. That will wrap up our DC
Ooh,
talk for the day. Oh, what's up?
actually, yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to point out about the Flash season 9 that I got from a YouTuber that I watch called Pagey. He was bringing up the fact that if it premieres the same time that the Flash seasons usually do, it will premiere pretty close to the premiere of the Flash movie. So if there is going to be connective tissue between the two of them, that would be kind of a fun way to do it. Like if they wanted to, for example, end season 8 with the Flash kind of like going off on an adventure, and then we see that play out in the Flash movie, and then you could have it kind of referenced in the premiere of season 9. That would be pretty cool. Now that's not me saying that's what's going to happen. Obviously we don't even know yet if Grant Gustin is going to be in the Flash movie, but the opportunity is there. And Spider-Man 3 did really well. So I'm wondering if Warner Brothers is going to think, hey, people like seeing these Spider-Man all together. Why don't we bring these two Flashes together? I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely a possibility at this point. Again, I've come to learn to never say never with half the stuff
Exactly.
that's happening for sure. The idea that Ezra Miller was even on the Flash television show blew my mind. The fact that Michael Keaton's coming back as Batman blew my mind. It's definitely things like that we certainly don't expect. So anything's possible, Stuart, for sure. All right, guys, with that out of the way, we will move on to our next topic here as we dive into the world of Marvel for you guys. As Marvel's been on quite the roll, Stuart, here. I mean, definitely continuing to rake in the big bucks from Spider-Man No Way Home as they dabble a little bit more into the multiverse. Definitely left quite the impression on people. I think the movie itself, you might want to check Box Office Mojo for this, Stuart, but I believe Spider-Man No Way Home might be like 6th or 7th, like all time right now in regards to box office money that it's certainly bringing in. I believe the movie theater run might be coming close to ending here, but Spider-Man No Way Home definitely left tidal waves when it comes to MCU fans, especially if you got the opportunity to sit around for the very end credits. We got the opportunity to go ahead and check out ourselves the upcoming trailer for Doctor Strange 2 Into the Multiverse of Madness. And with both of these movies, one in theaters, one right around the corner, the connective tissue between both of them is in fact Sam Raimi, who is currently directing the Doctor Strange movie, and in his own time certainly directed Tobey Maguire in 3 Spider-Man films themselves. Well, this past week, Variety got the opportunity to sit down with Sam Raimi, who's hard at work putting together the Doctor Strange 2 movie, and got the opportunity to not only talk to him about the upcoming sequel for Doctor Strange, but also his feelings in regards to Spider-Man No Way Home. And considering his connection to both of these, Stuart, I thought it'd be pretty fun to go ahead and just kind of pick his brain a little bit, see exactly how he feels about seeing his own creations represented on screen with the MCU, and his feelings towards the movie that he's putting together right now. It says, in an exclusive interview with Variety while promoting the Oscar shortlist film You're Dead, Helen, a live-action horror short film produced by Raimi, the director discussed seeing Maguire, William Dafoe, and Alfred Molina take up their iconic characters once again. This is what Sam Raimi said. He says, "It was so much fun. I loved No Way Home, and the audience I was went crazy. It was delightful to watch Alfred play his role and William Dafoe, just seeing these guys take it to the next level. And Toby was awesome as always. The best word I can say is it was refreshing to me." Just there's definitely more in this article, but Stuart, just based off of that alone, uh, how could you imagine the idea of like Sam Raimi seeing like just all? For me, it's just kind of crazy to kind of see Sam Raimi one being involved in comic book movies again, but to be able to see just his work that he created all those years ago sort of giving life again. It had to be kind of nostalgic for him to kind of see all these actors that he had the opportunity to work with, like he mentioned, kind of take it to the next level, because it definitely felt very much like that, like they just continued these characters and they just bumped them up a notch, if you will. So can you imagine what it's got to be like for Sam Raimi to check out some of his previous work seeing used again?
Yeah, I imagine it being just one of those interesting things where it's like something that you thought you'd never return to again, but then you see not only has it come back, but it's like you're looking at your legacy in the eyes of another director. And I gotta imagine there must be some interesting feeling about that, even if like let's say this director clearly didn't understand Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, like in this hypothetical world, the fact that you're still seeing like your creation being used on the big screen by someone else who was also inspired by your creation, I imagine that's gotta be a really satisfying feeling. And then also on top of that, to see them do it right the same way they did it in Spider-Man No Way Home, yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any like down to earth equivalent of what that might be like, but that's got to be a good feeling, I imagine.
Yeah, I definitely got to think that there's a surrealness to it, maybe even a sense of like fulfillment and the idea that you've created something that's kind of stood the test of time enough to where people want to bring these characters back, and see them again, sort of thing. So that's got to be pretty trippy for him, to certainly say the least. Let's see here. It says, in terms of Raimi's next directorial project, the sequel to Doctor Strange, the filmmaker wasn't willing to reveal details. He did share an uncertainty if the film was done filming, responding to the reports that Benedict Cumberbatch star sequel faced significant reshoots back in November. This is what Sam Raimi says. He says, "I wish I knew the answer to that question," responding to the question on whether the movie was complete. "I think we're done, but we just cut everything. We're just starting to test the picture, and we'll find out if there's anything that's got to be picked up. If something's unclear or another improvement I can make in this short amount of time left, I will do it. One thing I know about Marvel team is they won't stop. They'll keep pushing it until it's as close to being great as it could be." Raimi also emphasized the positive experience he's had with working with Marvel Studios and Kevin Feige. He says, "Marvel's been a great team to work with. I think that was a not surprising surprise. I've been super supported by the whole Marvel operations, starting at the top with Kevin Feige and working all the way down to the crews that they work with. They're super professional and have supported me every step of the way." Stuart, I absolutely love this quote from Sam Raimi here, man. I truly do. I think it continues to showcase just how positive the idea of working with Marvel certainly is. I mean, we always hear the idea that, oh, Marvel allows their creators to create and stay very hands off. Well, I still think at the same time, while they definitely do give them senses of freedom, make no mistake, Marvel and Kevin Feige know exactly what they want out of these movies, and they still need to kind of shape the narrative to truly what they want. So I'm pretty sure they're just as hands-on as any other sort of production studio here. But the fact that they've been doing this for so long, the experience that they have, to have somebody like a vet like Sam Raimi kind of come in and just work so seamlessly well with Marvel, I really do think kind of speaks volumes. And just the idea of what he's saying, the idea that they don't stop, that they constantly want to truly push their movies to try and be the best that they can and the greatest that they can. You know, honestly, Stuart, I wish all production companies were like that or had that same mentality. It feels very much like they love these characters, they love the process of certainly filmmaking, and they truly want to give the audiences certainly the best experience that they can, certainly at the movie theater. And the fact that somebody like Sam Raimi says something like that, I think the proof is in the pudding that when us as viewers watch anything Marvel, you can definitely feel it. And I think that's why Marvel is so successful, why they've got such great films that continue to just crush at the box office, sort of thing, because they continue to push themselves and they continue to strive to give the best. Even months in, like this movie, Stuart, is supposed to be dropping what, like in May or July of this year sometime. So they still have like maybe 4 or 5 months left to go. And they're still talking about the idea of it's now being cut. We're screening it maybe for test audiences. Who knows? We could go back and film a couple more pickup shots to make this even better than what it already is. I feel like most people would be ready to go ahead and put this movie in the can, let it sit for 3 and 4 months until it's ready to go. But it seems as though Marvel is always kind of pushing the envelope. And who knows? Maybe they're waiting for some actors' schedules to open up just briefly. Like, you got like 2 days in the month of February. We can bring you in real quick just to film this quick cameo sort of thing with nobody knowing. It's that type of love and attention to detail that I absolutely love hearing Sam Raimi talk about when it comes to putting this film together, honestly. So I'm really hyped for this. I just based off of Two Stewart, just based off of the idea of what we've seen from the trailer itself, it feels very Sam Raimi. It feels like there's definitely going to be some horror elements or at least some dark tones towards this movie that I cannot wait to see. So what do you think when you hear Sam Raimi's talking about his collaboration with Marvel as they come down to the final stretch of putting this movie together?
It's just kind of funny because I feel like Marvel's the only studio that has enough people, enough staffing to get away with not having the movie complete like several months in advance. Because even the first Avengers movie, the after credit scene that they filmed was filmed like the weekend before it premiered in theaters.
Crazy. The
Yeah,
shawarma scene?
yeah. No, not the shawarma scene, the Thanos scene. That
Oh, the
was
Thanos
like,
scene. Gotcha.
yeah, that was done like a week before it actually premiered in theaters. So that's why no one knew about it until like actually premiered. So even the red carpet premiere didn't have that. So with this, I could definitely see like there being a few cameos, like you were mentioning, that maybe they want to wait to film because the actors aren't fully available. So like I could see this movie still being filmed like a week before it premieres. Like maybe, hey, Hugh Jackman is available today, so we need to
Oh
get this
man.
shot with him right now. I say Hugh Jackman just because like the rumors now about like the cameos you're gonna have in this movie are freaking huge. So I'm expecting a lot of things from this movie. I'm expecting it to be big, but more than any of that, I'm just really expecting it to feel hopefully like a Sam Raimi movie, and I mean that in a good way. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what a Sam Raimi movie in the MCU is going to look like. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you. I cannot wait to see just Sam Raimi's handprints all over this particular movie when we get to it. Are there any big cameos that you're kind of expecting and hoping to see? You know, I know Tobey Maguire for me. I know Toby and Andrew and Tom Holland were doing some rounds of interviews this past week, and I know Toby kind of mentioned that No Way Home kind of felt like maybe not necessarily like a complete send off for his character. So I am kind of curious as to whether or not, for me, I would love to see Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man pop up in this movie in some way, shape, or form. You know, maybe when him and Andrew disintegrate on screen to kind of go back to their places. Like maybe Toby's Spider-Man goes back to the Doctor Strange movie briefly. Like, how did I get here? This isn't where I'm supposed to be. Like, for me, like it would just be cool to kind of see Sam Raimi have to direct Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man again after all these years. So one, I would love to see Toby pop back up once again as Spider-Man. And honestly, I would really love to see I put this in our Facebook chat with the rest of the A Plus Opinions team because I think Reggie was asking us. I would love to see Ben Affleck come back as Daredevil. I think that would be kind of pretty cool. Maybe even give me a Wesley Snipes' Blade in some weird world. I would love to see some of those old school Marvel movies get some shine in this Doctor Strange movie in some capacity. That and a Captain Carter from the What If series are like my three cameos I honestly would love to see. What about you though? You got any big cameos off the top of your head that you would like to see in this movie?
Definitely Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. Mostly because I would love to go back to that universe one last time to see what it looks like now. Because I think I've mentioned this before. Like, you got to imagine the universe has to look a lot different because they basically just completely rewrote Green Goblin and Doctor Octopus. So I imagine when they go back to their universes, the outcomes of their endings have to be a lot different. Anyways, yeah. So I'd be very curious to see if that actually plays out within his universe.
Anybody else other than
Oh,
Toby Maguire that you have in mind or no?
um, mm, I wouldn't mind seeing Evan Peters again, but like this time actually as Quicksilver instead of like kind of the joke about him being Quicksilver. Have him actually be the same Quicksilver from the X-Men movies.
That would be pretty cool. I feel like us as viewers, we've forgotten all about that. I mean, we had Homeboy pop up over in WandaVision in some capacity. So yeah, it would be pretty cool to kind of see Evan Peters pop up again. Give me a Chris Evans as Johnny Storm. I think that would be pretty cool. There's
Oh my god, that would be hilarious.
Give me a Professor X maybe with what's the actor that plays him in the current X-Men previous X-Men movies? I can't remember his.
James McAvoy.
Yeah, let's get that. You think Hugh Jackman will come back as Wolverine briefly?
Oh man, that would be really cool. I'm not going to get my hopes up too high for that, but yeah, that would be really awesome.
Yeah, I'm not getting my hopes up for any of these cameos, but I think it would be pretty cool. I do think we'll definitely have some surprises here. But yeah, I'm just throwing out some speculation and some things I would love to see. But we'll see what happens. But guys, listen, at the end of the day, we want to know your thoughts. Sam Raimi expressing his thoughts on No Way Home, seeing some of his creations certainly come back. His time working with Marvel on Doctor Strange. Does this boost your level of anticipation for that particular movie? What do you think about some of Sam Raimi's words? And honestly, what cameos would you guys like to see? We definitely want to know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, Stuart, with that out of the way, we will wrap up when it comes to our Marvel talk as well. And we're going to dive a little bit more back into television and the movie side of things. If you're ready to go ahead and do that with me, Stuart.
Definitely.
Let's crush this, man. We got 4 more topics that we're going to go ahead and break down. A pretty stacked show here today, guys, just to give you a heads up. There was so much great news that I definitely wanted to go ahead and share all this with you guys. But the next article that we're going to be talking about here comes from the world of Netflix television original series. As one of my more anticipated series, hopefully for this year, is the upcoming Wednesday Addams series that we're going to be getting from Tim Burton himself. You tell me Tim Burton's attached to a project that he's not just producing, but he's actually going to be very hands-on with. I'm definitely going to go ahead and jump on board with it because I'm just a big fan of his vision in a lot of his films that he winds up creating. And the fact that he's going to be revisiting the Addams family sounds extremely promising. I was always a big fan of both of those movies growing up as a kid. I think actually, Stuart, for Thanksgiving, I just rewatched Addams Family Values. You know, there's not a lot of Thanksgiving themed movies out there, but Addams Family Values is certainly one of them. And getting the opportunity to truly see Wednesday Addams shine in that movie makes me laugh each and every time. And so, while we're not getting the beautiful Christina Ricci to certainly go ahead and reprise her role, we are getting newcomer Jenna Ortega to go ahead and actually be the upcoming Wednesday Addams. And this past week, she actually sat down and gave an interview really discussing the process of her filming this, getting the opportunity to really test her range and really what it's like to kind of work with Tim Burton. So let's go ahead and talk about this, Stuart, because I really do want to give this upcoming series some shine. I'm hoping it's as good as I'm certainly expecting it to. But let's go ahead and dive into this. And maybe, if anything, this will give us a little bit more hype in regards to the Wednesday Addams series. Jenna Ortega hopes to do Wednesday Addams justice in the upcoming Netflix series. This is from movieweb.com. as you see Jenna Ortega there with the script for Wednesday. It says Tim Burton is rebooting the Addams Family with a new series Wednesday on Netflix, bringing us a new take on Wednesday Addams, with the character now an older teenager going away to college. Jenna Ortega from Scream and The Fallout, which The Fallout, I believe I just saw it up on HBO Max. I've never seen Jenna Ortega in anything before, so I might actually go ahead and check her out in The Fallout. And I didn't know she was in I'm assuming that's the current Scream, but she will lead the series as a teenager Wednesday. And speaking about the role with The Hollywood Reporter, the actress opened up on playing such an iconic character along with working with a big name like Burton. This is what she wind up saying. She says, "It's been quite an insane experience. I've been lucky enough to get the opportunity to work with an iconic director who just happens to be one of the sweetest directors I've worked with, and also the most detail oriented. To step into the shoes of somebody who's a bit more eccentric and frightening has been really exciting for me, and definitely a challenge, especially with such a beloved character. I really want to take care of her and do justice." It does say that Ortega admits that there's a lot of pressure that comes with playing an older depiction of Wednesday, as some of the things that might work with a child Wednesday may not work as well with the character a bit older. It's all a matter of striking the right balance. On her part, Ortega has never felt so much pressure with any other acting job she's ever had. This is what she says. She says, "The thing is, there are several different paths that anyone could have taken for this character. We've never seen Wednesday Addams as a teenage girl, so some of her harsh mannerisms may come off as hilarious when she's younger, but as you get older, how much of that can you get away with? Or how do you keep that at the forefront of her personality without people growing to dislike her or find her annoying?" It's just trying to find that balance that I never felt so much pressure on a job, and I'm trying to certainly keep my cool. There is one other comment here. She says, "I think it's probably the most physical transformation I've ever done. I cut my hair and it's black, and mannerism wise, speaking cadence wise, expression wise, I'm trying to pull from a different toolbox this time around. I think it's a surprise. I think it's a surprise to the audience, but myself as well." So let me go ahead and throw this over to you, Stuart, in regards to what Jenna Ortega is certainly saying here. So yeah, she's definitely going into her toolbox, having a very vastly different approach than she certainly had to a lot of her other acting performances. She does talk a lot about feeling the pressure of a Wednesday Addams. Is that expected, you think? And what do you think about some of her comments here so far? Are you worried, concerned, or do you think because she's very much aware of this, that there's a great opportunity that she'll find that perfect balance here?
Well, seeing her in the movie Scream, she was really good in that. And then she's also going to be coming. She's also got like two other horror movies that are going to be coming out that both look pretty intriguing in their own right. One of them
Oh,
called
okay.
X, and then the other one, I haven't seen a trailer for this, but it has a really cool looking cover called Studio 666. So she's definitely got the horror experience nailed.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, although she's usually, it looks like the victim in these movies, so it'll be different when she's playing like Wednesday Addams, someone who's supposed to be, kind of a mixture of both scary, but also you're also kind of adorable at the same time. So it'll be interesting seeing how she plays that in this role. But yeah, no, I do think she was a really good choice for Wednesday Adam. I'm pretty sure she's going to do a good job of it. And plus, seeing her in a role in Scream, because even though she was the main character in that movie, and even though Scream has also been around for quite a while, I don't think the legacy of Scream was quite as big as the Addams Family. So seeing her do that good in a role where it's like not where I don't think it has quite as much significance as Wednesday Adam, I think if she was able to pull that role off pretty well, she's going to do just fine as Wednesday.
Oh, so she's the lead role in Scream, the Scream movie?
One of the lead roles, I should say.
Okay.
She's technically one of the two, like basically the main roles really go to like these two sisters, and so she's like the younger sister.
Okay, that definitely gives me some hope for sure. Because I am really looking forward to this particular series. So I guess now I'm gonna have to check out not only the Fallout series over on HBO Max, but definitely check out and see what you can do over in Scream. So I think this is probably a really great catch by Netflix to get somebody like the talent of Jenna Ortega to go ahead and tackle this particular role. But I do love her awareness of the way that she talks about Wednesday Addams. Clearly doing her studying in regards to the idea that there are certainly some things that you probably can't get away with her when she was a child, now with her being as a teenager. And I think Jenna could definitely go ahead and kind of bring that character to life in a brand new way. And I think when she is directed, that's with somebody that has so much experience like a Tim Burton, I got to think that'll put her in a really great position to be rather successful in here. So I'm excited for her and the opportunity that certainly awaits her. Again, I think she's got a great understanding of who the character really is, and the fact that she can kind of be that vulnerable and feel that pressure, I think is probably just going to go a long way for her when it comes to bringing Wednesday Addams to life. So I'm really excited for this, Stuart. I think this is going to be a pretty surprising series in and of itself. For some reason, I want to say, like, I think I get like the chilling adventures of Sabrina kind of vibes here. And I'm really hoping that it could be just as successful as that show certainly was. But are you interested in checking the series out, or do you not really have that much interest?
Uh, I have a little bit of interest in it, especially with it being Tim Burton who's behind it. I've never seen him work on a TV show before, so I definitely am going to be at least checking out the first episode, and we'll see where we go from there.
Yeah, we definitely will. So pay attention to Jenna Ortega. She definitely is attaching herself to some great content. So yeah, we'll continue to keep you guys updated whenever that series does drop. But at the end of the day, let us know your thoughts. Have you seen Jenna Ortega in anything? Are you now curious to see check out some of her other content? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below, guys. All
Oh,
right. Okay.
she was also in Iron Man 3. She played the vice president's daughter.
Iron Man 3. She must have been like just briefly on screen.
Yeah, she
No,
was
no
barely on
dialogue.
screen, but it was basically her one role was that like she was missing a leg, and the vice president betrayed America because he wanted her to have a better leg or something. Uh, yeah,
Was that the one when they were creating those soldiers with that was right? Like,
yeah,
okay,
with
okay.
like that weird thing that made them like their skin go on fire, and then it
Hmm.
also like gave them healing abilities.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Damn. All right, maybe I'll have to check out Iron Man 3 just to see that quick cameo of hers.
It
All
has
right,
been a
guys.
long time since I've watched that movie.
Yeah, it's been a minute too. It's definitely been a minute for myself. All right, guys. With that out of the way, we will move on to our next topic. We got three more topics that we're going to be breaking down for you guys. I believe last year, Stuart, was the Mortal Kombat movie that we wind up getting over on HBO Max. We have been really hoping for another Mortal Kombat movie for quite some time after the very nostalgic ridden Mortal Kombat movie from back in the day that a lot of us continue to certainly enjoy. Maybe some people might want to forget about Mortal Kombat Annihilation, but we've been eagerly anticipating another Mortal Kombat movie, and we finally got one over on HBO Max last year. I believe it was originally supposed to be set for theaters, but I think with everything that happened with the pandemic, a lot of these particular movies went straight to streaming services. So we never got the opportunity to check out Mortal Kombat on the big screen, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember if it had a theatrical run or not, Stuart. But let me ask you, man, before we get into this topic, were you a fan of the Mortal Kombat movie that we wind up getting? Did it live up to your expectations?
It definitely lived up to my expectations. It was dumb, but I had fun with it. It was not a good movie, but like I was entertained watching it all the way through. So, I can't complain.
Well, you know what, Stuart? If you were that entertained, sir, you're going to love this news because a sequel is coming, my guy. A sequel is coming. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This is from Deadline.com. New Line Cinema moving forward with the Mortal Kombat sequel. And it also winds up having the Moon Knight scribe Jeremy Slater scripting it this time around. So we definitely have ourselves a brand new writer on board, which actually gives me some confidence, Stuart, because I feel like when the Mortal Kombat movie, the original one, or I should say this HBO Max movie that wind up dropping, I believe they had a lot of like newcomers to directing along with writing. It definitely had me worried going into this movie, but we got the first one. It clearly was successful enough and got people excited. Maybe a dumb movie, maybe not necessarily the strongest script in the world, but I definitely do think that it fulfilled some of the dreams of some Mortal Kombat fans, to certainly say the least. But now we've got somebody else that's going to be scripting this sequel. It says exclusive new line is getting back into a fighting stance on a sequel to Mortal Kombat, the action adventure film based on the blockbuster video game franchise. The studio has hired Jeremy Slater to write Mortal Kombat 2. Slater was the head writer on the Marvel Disney Plus series Moon Knight, which stars Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke, and Gaspar Ulliel. It does say that Slater is also writing to direct The Thread for Screen Gems. And that it also says he also developed the Umbrella Academy for Netflix, yada, yada, yada. Any other details? No, it looks like that's really about it, Stuart. I was hoping that they would get a little bit more detailed in regards to this upcoming sequel, but no, that's all Deadline is certainly reporting. So, what are your thoughts in regards to this? Does the idea of Jeremy Slater on board give you more hope for this series?
Hard to say because I haven't seen Moon Knight yet. I feel like with how good the Disney Plus shows have been so far, though, it feels like now you just need to tell people, "Oh, we got a writer who worked on one of the shows," and people will get hyped without even seeing the show at this point. I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not even saying it means he's not going to do a good job. He probably will, and it'll probably be amazing. But I think it's I don't know. It's too early for me to say whether or not this new change in writing or this new change of their writer is going to make a big difference or not. But yeah, I mean, I think changing the writer is a smart idea also because like the writing was the weakest part about that movie. So, if we could get that same action, that same directing, but like give it a good script, maybe people will actually like this Mortal Kombat sequel.
Yeah, I'm definitely in agreement with you there. While I definitely do think that the script was the weakest part of that Mortal Kombat movie, for me, my response would just be, you can only go up from here. Right.
Yeah, exactly.
And if granted, while we certainly haven't seen Moon Knight as of yet, I think it does speak volumes in the idea that somebody's already interested in trying to get this guy for more work. You know what I mean? Like, I do wonder if New Line has maybe seen the script from Jeremy Slater in regards to Moon Knight. Have they seen pieces of this particular series for them to really get invested and interested in sort of bringing him in? The fact that Jeremy Slater does have, can you bring up Jeremy Slater on IMBD? I'm kind of curious to see if he's done anything else outside of Moon Knight, or if Moon Knight's going to be like his first big project that he's kind of working on. But the fact that you do get somebody that I don't believe had too much experience, but now somebody else that does at least, I think definitely will go a really long way for this sequel and hopefully improve upon what we wind up getting in the first one. Because I agree with you. I think the action, I think the direction and stuff for the first Mortal Kombat is really what worked for it. Even the Scorpion and Sub-Zero sort of storyline and elements kind of worked for me too. But it feels like outside of that, I really didn't care for sort of too much more of the movie itself. So I am kind of hoping that maybe this Jeremy Slater guy does inject some fresh life in regards to this series. I heard your moan there, Stuart. What does that mean?
Uh
What else has he worked
I
on?
am let's put it this way, I'm less excited for Moon Knight now.
What else has he worked on?
Okay, so he has worked on the Lazarus Effect, which was a really bad
I don't
movie.
think I've even watched it.
It was a horror movie back in 2015.
Uh-oh.
Although I say horror very loosely, it was pretty bad. And then, of course, he did one of my least favorite superhero movies. Probably not the worst one, but definitely, bottom of the barrel. He did Fan Four Stick.
Oh, Oh no, he did
Yeah,
the
he was the
Michael B.
right he was
Jordan
one of the
one?
writers. Yeah.
Man, wait.
Now, oh,
I,
sorry.
oh, go ahead. Go ahead. No, we're gonna say.
There is a light at the end of this tunnel, a light that I personally haven't seen, but I know that you definitely have. So this will probably get you excited. He also has done Umbrella Academy, though.
Oh, how many seasons? Like, has he been? He's not. Has he been the head writer?
Uh, it says the. Oh yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it sounds like he is the head writer of the show. So there is that, though. There is that light at the end of the tunnel.
Okay, okay, okay. That does give me a little bit of hope. It feels like maybe a man that has learned from his mistakes and has improved upon what he's put
Oh
together.
God, but he also did Death Note as well.
Oh, the Netflix one, the
Yeah.
adaptation. Oh, yeah, I know you weren't the biggest fan. Oh man, okay, well, we'll
So
see.
three
I might have
three
to.
misses, one hit that I haven't seen.
Yeah, maybe I guess the comment of you can only go up may not necessarily be that accurate, but we'll see. Listen, I was a big fan of both seasons of Umbrella Academy. I definitely do think that they improved upon themselves. So I mean, that does give me some faith. And I think the fact that Marvel brought this guy in, like, I've yet to see like a week, well, I don't want to say a week Disney Plus MCU series, because for me, like we talked about this the other day, Hawkeye was a little bit underwhelming, but it almost felt like perfect for a Hawkeye series. So it definitely helped and at least worked out well for that particular series in its own right. But I feel like for the most part, they're usually pretty good about finding the right people to go ahead and bring certainly their characters to life. And so we'll see what happens with Moon Knight here. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Moon Knight is just as successful and just as good as something like a an Umbrella Academy. Maybe he works better in the series realm than he does movie realm, Stuart, but I
Mhm.
guess maybe that should make me worried about him jumping on board the Mortal Kombat movie now, right?
Uh, yeah,
Maybe he's
possibly.
better at telling stories with more time than just trying to wrap something up in an hour and a half or 2 hours.
There's that, and then also like with writing on television, you got a lot more writers working with you. So maybe he's a good writer when he has other people kind of like correcting him on certain things or working with him on certain things. So I guess it gives me a little more hope for Moon Knight, but less hope for Mortal
For Mortal
Kombat.
Kombat. Well, yeah, we'll see what happens here, guys. But I guess for me, my thing would just be again, Stuart, like you said, everything else in Mortal Kombat really worked for me outside of the writing. So I think if you could just get a little bit more coherent writing, maybe we'll really have something on our hands. But we'll definitely keep you guys posted, and we'll see what happens here. Datilla did have a question. She said, what are your thoughts on the Miz wanting to play Johnny Cage? Do you think he will make a good Johnny Cage? Who would you like to see play Cage? For me, the Miz, no, I don't want the Miz as Johnny Cage. Like, if you're gonna get somebody to play Johnny Cage, I'd rather somebody that actually does have a martial arts sort of background, if you will, and good acting. I don't know if that's a really hard combination to do. Not to say that I don't think the Miz can pick up on some moves here or there. Like, I think personality wise, yeah, the Miz probably works for Johnny Cage, but I'm gonna have to see a big evolution of just him personally, to get that to that particular point. Now, who do I want to see play Johnny Cage? That I don't know, but I personally don't want it to be the Miz. I haven't even seen his Marine movies, but yeah, I don't think anybody's writing home about him. What about you, Stuart?
I'll say this: look wise, he's perfect, but I think acting wise, oh shoot, what's his face? Dean from Supernatural, the guy we literally just talked about last week. Yeah,
Jensen
Jensen
Ackles.
Ackles. I feel like just he
I
could
can
pull
see
off
that.
that douchey personality really well if he wanted to.
Man, I like that casting, bro. I would love to see that. Yeah, let's go, Jensen. I would definitely love to see that. If you guys have any other suggestions, go ahead and let me know. I don't think Jensen certainly knows any martial arts. I don't know if that's solely what they're going for in regards to who they're choosing or casting to have some martial arts background or not, but I can see Jensen Ackles easily picking up some fighting sequences and things like that. It would be pretty cool to kind of see.
Mhm.
But yeah, guys, let us go ahead and know your thoughts about the idea of a Mortal Kombat sequel, a brand new writer. Do you think it'll certainly help? And who would you like to see play Johnny Cage if he actually does get the opportunity to be in this movie? Do you think Cage will be in this one?
Well, I mean, he kind of has to be. They hinted at him at the very end of the previous film, so it'd be a bit disappointing if he wasn't.
If he didn't, yeah, no, I totally agree with you there. All right, guys. With that, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this particular topic. We got two more that we're going to be going ahead and breaking down for you guys today as we continue along in the talk of television series. To certainly go ahead and come back around to this. Stuart, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna make a confession here, man. And I hope nobody hates me for this, but I've only seen one Percy Jackson movie. I think there's like 2 or 3 other ones, aren't there?
There's two of them, but let me tell you this: you've seen more than me because I've only seen I've seen maybe an eighth of the second one, and it was really
Okay.
just the ending. For some reason, when I first started working at the movie theaters, that movie did not leave our theater for the longest time, and I think it was just because it didn't do good on the weekends, but it did really good on weekdays for some reason. It was just like a movie that kids really wanted to see when they were off school. So we kept it in our theater for like longer than we normally would have. I think because most theaters had that movie gone like after 2 weeks, but I guess like our theater in particular was just the perfect theater for it.
That's kind of well. It doesn't. I guess I was gonna say I am surprised, but when you mentioned the idea that kids just like ran to this movie during the weekdays, that doesn't sound surprising to me at all. Because if you ask me, I think while I personally haven't read any of the Percy Jackson books or novels or anything like that, it almost kind of felt like it was built to kind of be like the next big trilogy of movies, if you will. I'm not trying to compare it to like Twilight or even what was that other dragon movie that they were supposed to, it was like a,
Like Percy Jackson or well, or no, wow, that's the one we're talking about.
what was the
I
dragon
forgot.
movie? Aragon or something like that. I think
Yeah,
it was, right. Like that was supposed to be like a book that had gotten a lot of notoriety. They were going to turn it into 3 big budget trilogy films, and the first one just bombed. And I kind of always felt like Percy Jackson was on the precipice of being like that next big thing. Great cast, if you ask me. The first one I thought did relatively well, if I'm not mistaken. If you want to look up the box office for the first Percy Jackson movie, I thought there were going to be some momentum towards it, but maybe it's the second film that unfortunately might have killed it. And I feel like ever since then, we haven't really seen too much movement in regards to Percy Jackson that I'm aware of. If there are other Percy Jackson content out there, certainly go ahead and let me know. But Stuart, it seems as though there's life back into this particular franchise, as it seems as though Disney Plus is set to go ahead and tackle Percy Jackson and the Olympians at least one more time, but this time in TV series form. And this seems pretty promising, Stuart. So I wanted to go ahead and talk about this because I'm pretty sure there might be some Percy Jackson fans out there, whether you read the book, whether you watched the movie, and you thought to yourself, man, there's potential here for something to happen. But this comes to us from Variety. Percy Jackson and the Olympian series gets greenlit at Disney Plus, so it is happening. It says a series has officially been picked up at Disney Plus. The series adaptation of the Rick Rio Riordan book series was first reported as being in the works at the streamer back in May of 2020. Casting is currently underway on the series, and they have announced that the series pick up in a video message which can be viewed below. So they did go ahead and do a little bit of a reveal. It says Riordan and John Steinberg will write the pilot with James Bobbin directing. Steinberg is currently under an overall deal with Disney's 20th Television. It also says Steinberg and his producing partners serve as executive producers, yada, yada, yada. Let me see. It says, with Rick Jordan, John Steinberg, and Dan Schatz leading our creative team, we're deep into creating a compelling TV series worthy of heroic mythological characters that millions of Percy Jackson readers know are well worth caring about. And we're eager to invite Disney Plus's audience into stories that are true to the blockbuster franchise and full anticipation, humor, surprise, and mystery, is what they say. It says the live action Percy Jackson series tells the fantastical story of a 12-year-old modern demigod who's just coming to terms with his newfound supernatural powers when the sky god Zeus accuses him of stealing his master lightning bolt. Now, Percy must trek across America to find it and restore order to Olympus. It says bringing Riordan's brilliant Percy Jackson books to Disney Plus as a television series has been a mission for so many of us at this company, as well as for Rick himself. It says, thanks to our friends at Disney, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, everybody's excited for this, Stuart. It says the book series is comprised of The Lightning Thief, The Sea of Monsters, The Titan's Curse, The Battle of the Labyrinth, and The Last Olympian. And he has also published the companion books, The Demigod Files, as well as The Demigod Diaries. So it definitely feels as though when it comes to series wise, Disney Plus has a lot to certainly work in their benefit. Clearly, a ton of content out there for them to go ahead and certainly adapt. And I think this is a great opportunity to do so. It didn't do so well when it comes to big movie screens. You know, I am kind of curious if that's in part with there's so much content out there that maybe it's hard to wrap a Percy Jackson story up into sort of one movie, even if you are separating that out into sort of a trilogy, if you will. And maybe some, especially when it comes to novel adaptations with television series and streaming service series being sort of the next big thing. Same thing when it comes to video games, Stuart. I think maybe a series format works better for different types of media. And so I think maybe when it comes to Percy Jackson, with the level of content and how many books and novels are certainly out there, I think the series realm will probably work extremely well. We know Disney Plus does not slouch on their production whatsoever. You know, they've got great technology like they use when it comes to the volume on series like The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, that I'm sure Disney has access to. So if they really want to heighten visually the idea of a Percy Jackson television series, I think they have everything that they absolutely need. I will be curious to see who the casting is going to be for this 12-year-old Percy Jackson, or if they age him up a little bit. But with casting underway, I'm going to be really looking forward to some of these announcements. But this is happening. It's officially been greenlit, and I think a lot of Percy Jackson fans are going to be very happy. Like for myself, while I haven't read any of the Percy Jackson stuff, it's always been a concept and an idea that I thought to myself, I probably could find myself getting invested in this franchise if I actually sat down and read some of the books or maybe even watched the movie itself. So I'm really excited for this. I'm really intrigued to see what they're going to do with Percy Jackson, especially if they have the writer on board to kind of help produce and, you know, make sure that everything is going and hitting all the key moments and the tone that he's certainly looking for to kind of bring it to life. I think they definitely have all their ducks in a row, and I'm really looking forward to this. I think this could be potentially very big for Disney Plus itself. But let me go ahead and throw this over to you, Stuart. You hear everything that everybody's saying. This has been greenlit. Auditions are underway. What's your levels of excitement for this particular series?
I don't know if I have any levels of excitement, but I do agree with what you were saying about like just the series in general working better for television than it probably did for the movies. Again, I haven't seen either of the movies, so I don't know whether or not they were good or bad. I just know that like financially, the second one didn't do enough for them to justify a sequel. And then I think also what might have been part of the issue with it too, it might have been just kind of like when you're working with kid actors and if you're making a movie like once every couple years, but like story wise the movies are supposed to take place like 1 year after each other, it becomes extremely noticeable with like young actors how much they age up. And so you know it's one thing to have like a 13-year-old playing a 10-year-old, but then you know if it's supposed to be only 1 year later but like in real time there's been so many years that have passed, then you later got a 17-year-old playing a 14-year-old, which is a lot harder to you know sell sell to an audience. So I think that might have also been why the movie franchise didn't go on for a long time. But yeah, I do think that in general, like with books, adapting books, the easiest way to do so is through television. A lot of people like to look at the Harry Potter franchise as an example of a books franchise translating very well to the movies. But like when you look at a lot of other popular book series and look at the way they were translated to the big screens, like with Aragon, like with Percy Jackson, like with a few other fantasy novels, the translation doesn't always work as well. The Golden Compass is probably the other big example
Oh,
where,
that's a good one. Yeah.
yeah, the television show on HBO Max, His Dark Materials, was such a great show. Like I watched that before eventually watching the Golden Compass movie, and I was curious after watching the TV show. I'm like, okay, so what is it that people didn't like about the movie? When I went to go watch it, I realized what the issue was. Is that literally what took them 8 episodes to really of story material, what ended up being 8 episodes worth, they tried fitting all of that into the movie. And I think that was why the movie for Golden Compass didn't work very well, was because they tried to fit all of it in there. If that's the problem with the Percy Jackson movies, if they try to fit too much in there, I think that, like you were saying, a television show might be a better format for them, because then they can tell their story of the story of one book in pieces, and therefore they can fit everything they want from the book in there, add a little bit of their own flair to it as well. And yeah, I think, yeah, television just is an easier way to adapt certain types of books.
I love your comparison with the Golden Compass. That's a great one too, because I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the Golden Compass, but seeing, I guess, everything that really went into, I had never read the books before either, so seeing all the content that was in it being translated into the series itself, His Dark Materials, and then thinking about the Golden Compass, I'm like, man, they really tried to like just cram everything or just skip over some things. And it just didn't work for me so much as it felt better in the television series. So that's a really great comparison also between the two. But we'll see what happens here in regards to this. But I do think that this lines up very nicely for Disney Plus. I'm hoping it definitely will bring in more subscribers to them, because you got a huge fan base when it comes to Percy Jackson out there. So this is definitely a great pickup for them. Marcelino does say, he says Percy Jackson movies were not good. The main problem is that it's supposed to be a coming of age story, and they aged the characters up. So yeah, that probably would go a long way in kind of ruining it for me. A good coming of age story is always pretty monumental and pretty impactful, I think, when it comes to trying to create a story. So to kind of miss out on that and age them up, do you think they'll age them up here, or because it's something like a Disney Plus series, they may stick a little bit more true to the age range?
If I had to guess, I'd assume probably sticking to the age range.
I think so too.
Yeah, and assuming that the show is like, if it's going on for more than one season, I think it'll work in Disney's favor, because then, as long as it's only a year apart between seasons, you can actually have the kids age up in real time with the characters that they're playing.
That's a good point. That's a good point. Nathan does say it may not be for me, but it sounds like a hit for Disney Plus. Yeah, I totally agree with you.
Mhm.
A young audience may enjoy it. Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, Nathan. I think they struck gold with being able to bring this to the forefront. But yeah, guys, we want to know your levels of thoughts. We're kind of a bit of Percy Jackson novices around here. But if you've had your opportunity to check out anything Percy Jackson related, whether it was the movies, whether it was the novels themselves, how do you like the idea of those being adapted into a Disney Plus series? I think this is a gold mine waiting to happen. So leave it up to Disney to come up with the great ideas here and probably rejuvenate this particular series itself. Marcelino does say another problem with the Golden Compass was that the movie removed any and all religious aspects, despite the fact that the book is all about religion. Yeah, that will go a long way too, for
Yeah.
sure.
And actually, I kind of wonder how they would have done a sequel, because the whole thing in the Golden Compass is like the bad
Mm.
guys are essentially the Catholic Church. They just don't, directly say it, but basically like just the rules they fall under, very similar to the Catholic Church. And so Yeah, that plays a big part in season 2. So I'm kind of curious how they would have written that if they did a second Golden Compass movie, how they would have written that without being more obvious about the religious metaphors.
How many seasons of his Dark Materials do they have right now? Just the two?
Yeah, so far just 2, but the third one is currently in the works. I think they're still filming it, but I could be wrong.
I'm gonna be honest. I personally was not the biggest fan of the first season. There are moments where I kind of fell asleep watching it. It was a little bit slow paced for me, but I do love the young actress that plays in it. She played Laura from Logan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been impressed with her as an actor. But I heard that even season two was better than the first, so it does kind of make me want to go back and revisit it. But
Sorry. I'll just say this. So there is one part of season 1 that you appreciate more in season 2, even though it was probably the slowest part about it, which is the perspective of shoot, I forgot his name. I want to say it was Josh, but like the one kid that basically lives in our world. You
oh yeah.
get like so many scenes with him in season 1, and they don't seem to lead to anything. But then when you get to season 2, you kind of realize that it's a good thing we spent a lot of time with him in season 1, because now when he interacts, because this is a character that's lived in the real world, for the entire movie. So when he finally interacts with all the fantasy elements, it's just that much more satisfying to like kind of see his weird reaction, because it's one thing when you see a character that you've never seen before and he goes from the real world into this fantasy world, but it's a whole nother thing when we spent an entire season with him just living in the real world, nothing weird nothing like fantasy oriented happening to him.
I get you. I definitely get you. Yeah, so maybe it's definitely a season it's worth rechecking out. But guys, we want to know your thoughts in regards to the Percy Jackson and the Olympians Disney Plus series. Are you excited for it? Are you looking forward to it? Go ahead and certainly let us know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. And with real quick, I do want to bring up Nathan's comment going back to Mortal Kombat. He says, I thought Mortal Kombat was a hit for HBO Max. I'm sure it will be similar to the first. It definitely was a hit. I definitely got a lot of positive reception, despite maybe some of the weakness in regards to the script. I think outside of the script, I mean, I don't think anybody was expecting it to be script heavy. I don't think we were certainly going into it with that mindset. I definitely think it certainly did what it needed to do to get people excited for it. So I'm just hoping that the new writer on board will maybe put a little bit of emphasis towards the script and details. I'm not expecting Oscar winning or Golden Globes nomination or anything like that, but maybe something a little bit easier to digest is what I mean.
Yeah. Mortal Kombat definitely wasn't trying to please the critics.
Yeah, no, it was definitely trying to please the fans, and it certainly did just that. All right, guys, and then one last topic for you guys before we get into our live viewer questions today. This comes to us from Deadline.com. Look, Stuart, we've been talking for quite some time about this. The building up of the final sort of hurrah for the Fast and the Furious franchise itself. We've got a Fast and the Furious 10 that's upcoming. Some people are even mentioning the idea that it may be so big that they might have to split it into 2 films or film back to back. Who certainly knows? But the end of the Fast and the Furious franchise is coming rather soon. And we've been following the drama over the past couple of months in regards to Vin Diesel, Dwayne Johnson. Is The Rock coming back? Vin Diesel trying to reach out to The Rock with his letter out in the public of trying to draw Dwayne The Rock Johnson in. We saw The Rock's civil response in regards to the idea like, no, bro, I told you no already. Don't put me in the spotlight like that again, sort of thing. So it feels as though that ship has sailed when it comes to Dwayne Johnson returning for the Fast and the Furious, as he's said no multiple times and he has no plans on certainly coming back. Well, you know what, Stuart? It feels very much like Fast and the Furious said, you know what, Dwayne Johnson, you can't make it. Hold our beer. We're going to get somebody else for you. And they certainly have. And it seems as though Jason Momoa, Aquaman himself, is in fact joining the franchise. No, Aquaman's not joining the Fast and the Furious. We won't be seeing him ride on Vin Diesel's car while hitting a wave or anything like that. But he definitely is going to be in this movie as Jason Momoa joins Fast and the Furious 10. Wouldn't that be some shit though to see like Jason Momoa show up chilling on the top of like a Vin Diesel Mustang or something, like using his car to surf along the Pacific coast? Wouldn't that be pretty badass, Stuart?
Man, that feels like very much a desperate Warner Brothers is so screwed now that they got nothing better to do. They're just like, okay, fine, take Aquaman, make us money.
Yeah, take this with you. But Jason Momoa is joining Fast and the Furious 10, according to Deadline. It says in the first major casting for the next installment, Dominique Toretto looks to have a new counterpart to square off against. Sources tell Deadline Jason Momoa has joined the cast of F10, the next installment in the Fast and Furious series starring Vin Diesel. Tyrese, Ludacris, Michelle Rodriguez, Sung Kang are expected to return with Justin Lin on board to direct. Diesel and Lin are both producing. The plot details are unknown at this time. The film is set to bow on May 19th in 2023. And then we just had the F9 this past summer also, which grossed more than $720 million at the biggest global box office, making one of the biggest films of the year as of last year. Also, as for Momoa, one of the hardest working actors in the biz, stayed that way in 2021 as he was seen in the box office smash Dune, as well as his hit Apple series C, with the second season premiering in the fall as well. So yeah, Jason Momoa has been a very busy man. He just literally wrapped up Aquaman 2 also. But you hear this involvement, Stuart. Clearly he's going to be playing the foil. It did say he's going to be the counterpart to Dominique Toretto, as these two will in fact square off. I'm assuming this was not Dwayne's role, as he was probably going to continue to play his role from the Fast and the Furious series itself. But regardless, Jason Momoa was on board to play the counterpart to Vin Diesel's character. What do you think about this casting and Jason Momoa joining up?
There are certain actors where you hear they're joining a franchise and you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. And this is definitely one of those. I feel like Jason Momoa with the Fast and Furious franchise is kind of perfect, honestly. I feel like he's really good at having chemistry with almost anyone he interacts with. So seeing that the entire, franchise is really, it's always been about like family, and then just, the idea of, family not necessarily being the people that you're born with, but the people that you connect with like over time. I feel like Jason Momoa is the type of person that can really make that connection with them, even if he's playing the antagonist, because a lot of times the antagonists in these movies, they always become good at the end. So I could kind of see that happening with him in this, if they choose to go in that direction or not. But yeah, again, just Jason Momoa kind of perfect for this franchise.
Yeah, I would agree with you there. I definitely do think that he is sort of like this perfect fit. When it was announced, I just thought to myself, "Oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense." And while he certainly may not be The Rock, I mean, this guy clearly can carry a film on his own. I mean, goodness, Aquaman wound up making $1 billion at the theaters. I think Jason Momoa is definitely somebody that will attract eyes and attract attention to anything that he's certainly involved in, especially with the recent success, like you said, of Dune, Apple's Series C that he's currently in, eventually about to get its second series. Him being recognizable as Aquaman and things like that too. So he may not necessarily have the box office track record that somebody like a Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson does, but he brings that same type of energy. If you ask me, like Jason Momoa, like I wouldn't surprise me if I see Jason Momoa pop up in like an Expendables movie. I just feel like he could really just fit into any franchise that you put him in, especially when it comes to Fast and the Furious. I'm gonna think it's gonna be really fun to kind of see him opposite of somebody like Vin Diesel. I mean, he's got the aura about him, he's got the attitude, he's got the personality that feels like it just fits into that world seamlessly. And so I really want to see what they do with him here. He's more than capable of having some amazing action sequences and fights. So yeah, him and Diesel against each other is definitely going to be the highlight of this particular movie, to say the least. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to this showdown between these two characters. And yeah, I think this is just a perfect fit. Can't get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Don't worry about it. We got Jason Momoa. I think he'll do just fine in this movie. So, has this raised your hype level at all for it? I think you're muted.
Not really. I mean, my hype level when it comes to the Fast and Furious franchise movie, or when it comes to the movies, is pretty much always going to stay at the same line. I don't see it getting any more or less. Like I enjoy these movies, but I know exactly what I'm getting into every time I watch them. So it's about the same for me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this movie will crush the box office once again, until it fizzles out and eventually wraps up. But we should see what happens here, guys. But yeah, somebody did ask me, or somebody mentioned when we posted this article on Facebook, they were like, "Does he need the money or something?" Like it was really out of the norm for Jason Momoa to even want to be a part of the franchise. But I'm like, look, as ridiculous as some of these movies are, people still go to the movies to see
Mhm.
them. Like the fact that it made over $700 million still shows you the strength of that particular franchise. So while I'm pretty sure Jason Momoa does not need the money based off of just what his career is looking like, he definitely will help and continue to do wonders for the Fast and the Furious franchise to continue to make big money at the box office. So I'm pretty sure he'll see quite the pretty penny. He may not need it, but it definitely will help this franchise for sure. But all right, guys. Datilla does say, I want some type of showdown between Jason Momoa and John Cena, although not sure that will happen since Jason won't be able to see John Cena. Datilla and these John Cena jokes, man.
I mean, we could have the two of them facing off, just not in Fast and Furious. It would probably be in the DC universe, Aquaman versus Peacemaker.
Is John Cena, did he ever pop up in the Fast movies?
Oh, well, he was in the previous one. He
Oh, he was?
played
Okay.
Vin Diesel's brother.
Oh, okay. Okay. So hey, maybe there's an opportunity. Who knows?
Exactly.
Marcelino does say there should be a scene where the Fast crew are driving underwater to reference Aquaman. I mean, at this point, nothing's off the table, man. Nothing's off the table. Even Nathan says, I'd be surprised if it doesn't happen. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, that would
Yeah.
be pretty cool.
At
That'd
this
be pretty
point, it's
fun.
like they've done cars in space, so why not like
Cars
cars as
underwater.
submarine cars? I don't
Maybe
know.
they'll find Atlantis for all we know. We'll see what happens there.
Exactly.
But guys, let us know your levels of thoughts. Do you find yourself a little bit more enthusiastic for the next Fast and the Furious movie now that Jason Momoa is there? If not, what do you think about his addition to the franchise? Go ahead and let us know your guys' thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. All right, Stuart. That wraps up all of our main topics today. Listen, we knocked out 7 topics today, bro, under 2 hours. Give us a pat us on the back there for doing such a great job and clearing out these topics and talking about them this week. But now, what time is it, Stuart?
Live viewer questions.
I'm not sure how many questions we've got here today. I feel like it's been pretty slow in regards to the live viewer questions this week, unless they came in pretty last minute. So let's see here. We got a couple. So let's have some fun with this. Jessica Friedman coming through with some questions. When do you think season 3 of Harley Quinn and the rest of season 5 of Young Justice will drop on HBO Max? I know it's currently in development, season 3 of Harley Quinn. I think at DC Fandom, they gave us a brief little tease from Harley Quinn herself, at least showing some concept art or maybe some of the art that was at least ready to show. It still feels like it's kind of in early development, so I don't know. I'm not exactly sure when season 3 is going to drop. I would say, if I had to guess, maybe late this year. I could be wrong though.
It
Any word?
is currently it is still planned to be released this year, but still no release date. I
Okay.
think, but I'm pretty sure they're at least somewhat in development with the show, so I don't think it'll be too late. I'm going to make a guess now and say probably April, May, or June, like one of those 3 months.
Okay, okay. What about Young Justice? Any word on a season 5?
I mean, they're definitely working on a season 5 because I know that they confirmed it on Twitter, but I think it's going to be like another 2 years or so because that show does take like a lot of time to animate. So yeah, it'll be a hot minute before we get season 5.
Let's see here. We also got Marcelino with a couple questions. Today's questions are name and Stewart theme. Okay. All right, you're getting a whole set of questions themed towards you. Why is the Batman movie only titled The Batman and not given a secondary title? It's borrowing elements from Year One, Zero Year, Ego, and The Long Halloween. The movie could have used any of those as its secondary title or come up with their own. So, why do you think that there's no secondary title for the Batman, and do you think it needs one?
I don't really think it needs one, especially with it only being the first film. I think just because simple brings people in seats, the original Spider-Man series, even the original Superman series, they didn't have subtitles for those movies, so it was just called Superman, Spider-Man. I guess now they're doing that with the Batman.
Yeah, I mean, I think with Nolan, we kind of got the subtitles already, or maybe they weren't necessarily subtitles, but I think they were just titled Batman Begins, The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Rises. I don't think it was Batman, The Dark Knight Rises, was it? I think it was just The Dark
No,
Knight, right?
yeah.
So that works kind of for it already. So because of that, I'm almost pretty comfortable with the idea of it going to just the Batman because we've had several different stories before. I know it takes influences from it, but because it's not a direct adaptation to any of those, I think it might be I don't want to say misleading or anything to title it the Batman, the Long Halloween or Batman 01 Halloween, 0 year Halloween. Like I think maybe because it's kind of an amalgamation of a lot of those things. Maybe that's why it just wants to be called the Batman. So I don't necessarily think it needs a secondary title.
Yeah, I think it's like kind of the same reason they didn't want to call Thor Ragnarok Thor World War Hulk because there's elements of
Mm.
those in it, but it's not enough to like justify that being the subtitle. And I think that'd be the case with the Batman if they took elements from the Long Halloween or Year One and they decided to title it one of those two. I feel like fans would be upset because they'd be like, "Hey, there's not enough elements from those comic books for you to justify calling it that."
Yeah, that could be one of the reasons too. So yeah, you might be onto something there, Stuart. He also says I asked Adam this already, but Stuart can help further elaborate. In the beginning, one thing that made the Six Rangers special was the fact that they had their morphing sequences, their own morph call and their own names. So like the Solar Knight, Titanium Ranger, Quantum Ranger. But in recent times, the Six Ranger morph sequence and morph call is the exact same as the rest of the core team and they don't have their own names anymore and now go on by their respective colors. Why do you think that is? And what's preventing Hasbro from going back to that idea?
I gotta be honest, that's actually something I haven't really thought of before. Um, I don't know. I think like some of the examples that you gave, not all of them, but some of them weren't originally meant to even be Power Rangers to begin with. So I don't know why it is that that's changed recently, but yeah, I mean, I personally don't have a preference to one way or another, if I'm being honest, but that is interesting and it's something I have not thought about though.
He also asks, he says, this is to Stuart. Will you host A plus more phenomenal once in a while? He says maybe Adam can have the first and third week of the month to host while you have the second and fourth week to host. He must be tired of me hosting A plus more phenomenal by myself.
I don't feel confident enough to host it, but I do love joining Adam every once in a while for whenever there's like a special Power Rangers episode I want to talk about. I love reviewing those with him. Also, actually, speaking of which, have you had a chance to review superhero? What was it called? Superhero Seki, I think. The
No, I haven't because it's got Revice in it.
Oh,
I
okay,
believe
fair
it's got
enough.
Revice.
Well,
So
it's
yeah,
it's it's at the very, very end
very,
of the
very end
movie,
of the
so
movie.
it's
Okay.
not like yeah, they don't play a big part or anything. It's just it's at the very end. They kind of come and save the day, but most of it is just focused on Zenkaiger and Kamen Rider Saber. So
Do you want to review it? Did you want us to review it?
yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If you want to do a review of it together, since you watch Zenkaiger and I don't, but I've watched Kamen Rider Saber and I don't believe you have,
I
it'd be
haven't.
kind of fun if you're interested.
Okay, yeah, maybe I'll tackle it. If anything, we'll just completely ignore the Revice scenes. Is that possible? Is there a way to ignore
Again, it's
what
only
he?
the very end of the movie. Like,
Okay,
yeah, they're not in any of it until like the final action scene.
okay. Well, then maybe I can work around that and maybe review it without talking about Revice at all in the movie. Yeah, I'll let you know. I'll let you know for sure.
All right.
And usually Stuart, when he, just so you guys know, when Stuart is interested in coming on to co-host A Plus More Phenomenal, he usually gives me a heads up about maybe a couple of weeks in advance, or if there's like a particular topic or episode that he definitely wants to go ahead and talk about. He'll usually will ask me ahead of time if he wants to come on. So we'll bring Stuart on as well. So maybe we'll try and get you on a little bit more there, Stuart, when your time affords it. Um P.S. It may not. This might be too late, but Adam, don't buy Apple TV Plus for the MonsterVerse show. It's not worth buying a streaming service if you're only doing it for one show or movie. But if you're buying it for like 20 different shows or movie, then that's a different story. Yeah, no, I definitely get your point there, Marcelino. I have not purchased it yet. No, I definitely have not. But I would be lying, Stuart, if I said that a lot of the Apple TV series have actually really intrigued me. I've heard a lot of really good things about Apple TV's television series. Like that C show by Jason Momoa. I really want to go ahead and definitely tackle that itself. I'm not too familiar with what other content or what other movies they have up there. But outside of the MonsterVerse stuff, and especially if it's a franchise that they are going to expand upon, maybe on Apple TV, you're right. It may not necessarily be worth getting it for one show, but there are maybe like two or three other shows that I've heard mentioned that definitely have my interest. Whether or not that's enough I don't even know how much Apple TV Plus currently is. But right now, me and the girlfriend are trying to consolidate some of our streaming services, right? Like we might have copies or duplicates that we might think to ourselves, oh, we can just share it and open up a profile for the other person. So I might be able to save some money anyway and still be able to get Apple TV series. But no, I have not purchased it as of yet, but I appreciate the advice, Marcelino.
And for me, the reason I'm not opposed to getting it is because I do really like I haven't seen most of the shows on Apple TV, but I like that they're investing a lot of money in original properties. That doesn't happen quite often anymore. Now it's like usually it'll be 90% like whatever IPs they know are going to sell well, and then 10% originality when it comes to television shows. But Apple TV seems to be going more the route of Netflix and really wanting to give like new creators or creators that have a lot going for them. They want to give them a good budget to really tell these unique stories.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's see here. A couple questions from AJ. What do you think of the Legends not being a part of the Armageddon crossover in Elseworlds? And why Sarah was the only main character from Legends during the crisis on Infinite Earths?
I mean, just because the legends feel so like out of place with the Arrowverse at this point. I feel like that's why they don't include them with the crossovers anymore, is because they're really hard to write with the other Arrowverse characters, with the exception of Sarah Lance. And I think with Sarah Lance, even with her, the writing for her seems to be different whenever she's in other people's shows. They kind of make her a lot more down to earth. Whenever she's in like any of the other Arrowverse shows. So I think that's what it kind of comes down to, is just that tonally Legends is way too different from the other Arrowverse shows to be able to constantly like continue to bring them on as guest appearances.
He also recommends, he says, check out Battle of the Year movie. It's about breakdancing, and Katie played a former dancer who is love interest of actor Josh Holloway. Man, does that mean I get to watch Katie Lott's breakdance? If that's the case, bro, I'm all in. I'm a sucker for a great dance movie.
All right.
I might check that out. Let me see. Number 2 here. He says, put your spoiler blinders on if you haven't watched the entire 5-part of The Flash Armageddon. He says, what did you think of Ryan Wilder only being introduced to the other Arrowverse characters when Barry was part of the reverse Flashpoint created by Thawne? And do you think we will eventually get Ryan to properly meet everybody in the main timeline?
I think they're going to have her properly meet everyone in the main timeline with the crossover comic book, and I think they're just going to do that as a way so like when they bring Batwoman into other crossovers in the future, they don't have to explain why everyone suddenly knows who she is. So yeah, that'll be how I do it, how they do it, I think. As for like this being the way they introduced her, I thought it was a little bit weird because they introduced her in this alternate timeline that we're probably never going to go back to.
Mm.
So it kind of makes me wonder if Barry is even going to remember her from that alternate timeline or not. Or if he even learned her identity from that alternate timeline, because there's a chance he might not have. But yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a little bit. I would have liked to have seen her for at least one more scene. Let me put it that way.
I gotcha. I gotcha. Let's see here. Give me 1 minute. I'm trying to look up something. Um, he's got a third question, which I find pretty interesting. But I'm trying to see. Can I pull this movie up? Okay, there we go. So, the next question he has is, would you like more video game adaptions to be really good, like more emphasis on the video game aspect? While not a lot of people liked Alicia Vikander's Tomb Raider reboot film, I still really loved it. I love how immersive it was for me and how much first person point of view it had. But that's just me. Um, I don't. Looking at the cinema score for Tomb Raider, it did score B. Tomb Raider's box office, its budget was $94 million. Worldwide, it brought in 274 million and a half dollars. So I can see why definitely broke even for sure. A little bit more than that, so it made a little bit of a profit. So I can see why they're making a second movie. I didn't mind the Tomb Raider movie with Alicia Vikander. I kind of appreciated it for what it was. It didn't blow me away. There were some slow moments to it. But did you enjoy the first person sort of point of view aspect? And for video game adaptions, do you think they should have a more emphasis on the video game aspect of things?
Well, okay, so I actually haven't seen the new Tomb Raider, so I'm not 100% sure about the first person thing. But no, personally, I think like I don't mind it if they put like a video game like aspect of like gameplay within the movie as like a reference. But I think like trying to rely on that to tell a story would, it just wouldn't work for most audiences in general. I think it only works when you do it like as a nod. Like, did you ever see the Doom movie?
Yes, I have a little bit. I don't know if I've completed it fully, but I do remember that being the big emphasis being on that first person viewer, sort of scenes and shots, going around the corners, seeing a alien, type of thing. But yeah, I do remember those elements from the Doom movie.
Yeah, like it was a bad movie, but I think that specific moment kind of worked because it wasn't like a majority of the movie. Like the movie wasn't mostly in first person, and we weren't like watching like someone in first person shoot aliens. It was like something that was used very sparingly, and it was there as a reference. I think when you do it that way, it works.
What was that first person view movie that we
Oh,
wind up getting here?
hardcore Henry. Yeah.
Right. I almost felt like just watching the trailers, I almost got motion sickness, watching it sort of thing. So I do think that there are maybe some like camera shots and some cool angles that if you can get inspired from the video game, then that's cool. But the idea of like relying solely on that, probably not. There's a part of me that wants to say maybe that's what the problem was with video game movies for so many years, and maybe that's why it didn't necessarily work out so much, was emphasizing more video game aspects than just trying to come up with a solid script and great storytelling, if you will. But video games have definitely changed over the years. Like they video games have become a lot more cinematic to maybe lend themselves better to being adapted into a movie or television series in and of itself. So I don't mind if you do want to bring more video game aspects to it. That's cool, but let that be sort of uh, the Easter eggs and the small little nods to the video game, not so much an emphasis for its entirety of the film. So I definitely would agree with you there, Stuart. But I am looking forward to the next Tomb Raider. It makes me I actually kind of do want to go back and rewatch the Alicia Vikander Tomb Raider one more time. I still appreciate the Angelina Jolie first movie a little bit better though. And then last but not least, why do you love what do you love and remember when the movie Superbad came out, and what cultural impact did it give to the movie industry and pop culture? I think Superbad came out at like the perfect time for like comedy movies. I feel like it's in that batch with like Anchorman, 40-Year-Old Virgin, was it Knocked Up and things like that. I mean, I felt like it was just the prime for a lot of upcoming comedians in the current generation that we have, really started from those particular moments. But I always love Superbad. Superbad's up there probably with like my top 5 comedies of all time, if not like top 7 for sure. But do you felt like it had any impact in regards to the movie
Oh,
industry and pop culture?
yes, definitely. Like,
McLovin
I
for
think
sure.
that that was like the movie that kind of really changed a lot of teen comedies for
Mhm.
the better. I want to say, because at that there was just like that period of time where comedies were oftentimes bad, and you kind of knew that going into it. There was a reason they didn't sell good on weekends, because you don't want to pay full price for it. You're going into a comedy with the expectation that you're going to get a couple of good laughs and you're going to see some amazing tits, but that's about it. Superbad was kind of the one that said, "Hey, you don't just get a couple laughs; you get a lot of good laughs in this." And hey, these characters aren't just there to move the jokes forward; like they're actually characters this time in a comedy. I was really young when Superbad came out, and everyone I knew was watching this movie, was sneaking into this movie. This was like the number one most. If you didn't sneak in, you did what I did, which is just you pirated it online and watched it. But basically, everyone I knew like had watched this movie, because it was just like there was just something about my generation that this movie really spoke to, and it just became really popular. For that 3 or 4 years it first came, like when it came out, for the next 3 or 4 years, that was one of the most quoted comedies ever.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Super Bad for me is absolutely fantastic. I mean, how old are you, Stuart?
Uh, oh, how old was I, or how old
No,
am I?
how old are you?
I am 27. I don't remember
Okay.
how old I was when Superbad came out, but I
Yeah, I
was
was
really
gonna say.
young.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, see, so for us, I would definitely in a completely different. I don't want to say generation, but me being like 12 years older than you, yeah, my mindset was definitely in a completely different place when I watched Superbad for the first time. I could actually get in legally to actually see the movie itself at the time, but I just hearing what you're saying though from your perspective, somebody that's younger, I didn't know that it kind of had like while I could feel and see the popularity of that of Superbad. I guess I never really looked at it as like a new coming of age comedy for like teenagers and stuff during that time period to really launch itself into a different stratosphere and just put comedy movies in just a different place. So that's kind of cool hearing your perspective on how somebody younger might have interpreted Superbad at the time when it came out.
Mhm. Yeah, it was a really funny movie, and yeah, I think a lot of people just really enjoyed it, myself included. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, and I
Yeah, me
still
too.
do.
I
Yeah.
do I do too all the time. Jonah Hill and Michael Cera is just a great combination. Like I just think of outside of the McLovin stuff that's on there, I think of like the period blood on his leg from dancing type of stuff that made me laugh all the time.
Oh
Like,
my god, I can't believe okay, can I tell a quick story? I'll try to
yeah,
be
go
as
for it.
fast with this as possible.
Emma Stone was
They
in that movie too, wasn't she?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah,
She was the
incredible,
love interest for Jonah
incredible.
Hill's character.
Yeah.
Okay, so I actually bought a McLovin ID at a gift shop, and I used it to buy beer once, and it worked. I'm not even kidding. I was kind of shocked, because my thought was, okay, I can play this off as a joke the moment the person looks at it and knows it's not a real ID. I can be like, hey, it's not like I'm doing anything illegal. I'm just doing a joke. But the dude didn't like look at it. He just kind of glanced at it and went, okay. And I'm like, that worked awesome.
Oh
Never
my
worked again. It
god.
was a one-time thing, but it was still like awesome.
Oh my god, that's hilarious, dude. I can't believe it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that person probably got fired from his job a couple years after that.
Maybe.
But great question, AJ. Thank you very much for that. Let's see here. Datilla says definitely agree with you, Stuart. I was 14 when the movie came out, and all my friends watched it. I didn't watch it till years later, but yeah, so definitely had to avoid that. work around that rated R for sure. Doomsday, he's got a couple questions. This is the last set of questions that we have. Would it be epic if in Doctor Strange 2 a portal like moment from Endgame happens, and out of one of the portals comes Chris Evans, in which everyone kind of assumes that he's Captain America, but he shouts "Flame on," causing this close to burn, revealing he's actually the Human Torch from the Fantastic Four. What do you think about that moment? You think that's something we can see happen?
Dude, I would laugh so hard if that happened. If we have a moment where
You're
we're
like
supposed to
Steve?
believe it's Steve Rogers, but then it turns out to be Johnny. Oh my gosh. I will stand up and cheer in the theater. Okay, I'm saying that right now. You can quote me on this when the movie comes out. If Johnny Storm is in the movie, but they film it like it's supposed to be a mislead, like we're supposed to think it's Captain America, I will 100% stand up and cheer.
I love it. I hope that moment happens. I truly do, Doomsday. He says during all the fight scenes in Shang-Chi, could you imagine Jackie Chan giving a round of applause? Probably.
Mhm.
Probably because the gentleman the unfortunate passing of the stunt coordinator and fight choreography for Shang-Chi did pass away, but he was actually from Jackie Chan's stunt team. So if a lot of what you see in Shang-Chi feels kind of Jackie Chan related, there definitely is some influence there. Like for me, I think the big influence I see is definitely on the bus sequence. I'll have to go ahead and watch the movie again to see if I see any other influences there for sure. But I could definitely feel Jackie Chan's presence in those sequences, but it is because one of the gentlemen from his stunts team was the fight choreography from it, and there are talks of maybe Jackie Chan maybe being in rumors, speculation that he might be in the second Shang-Chi. I've been asking for Jackie Chan to pop up in some way or capacity, but it would make sense why there are some feels like Jackie Chan references in that movie.
I don't know. I feel like he would be disappointed by the safety harnesses and it all being on studio rather
No,
than
do the
you know
stunts yourselves.
yeah, exactly. Rather
Yeah.
than it being the dangerous stunts done on like bamboo with like no safety harnesses.
Yeah, he's like a fake bus. No, we're gonna use a real bus going down the streets of San Francisco.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're gonna do all these
We don't
live
need
action.
filming permits. That's for
Yeah, we
wimps.
don't.
We're just gonna drive a bus down that busy street.
Yeah, exactly. Real swords and everything too, guys. No CGI. Which of the and last but not least, which of the original two Fantastic Four movies do you think was the absolute best? If I had to do the original two, definitely the first one. The
Mhm.
Rise of the Silver Surfer was pretty forgettable.
Yeah, Rise of Silver Surfer. I remember like liking the visuals of the Silver Surfer
Yeah, it was
himself,
pretty
but
cool.
that
Yeah.
was about it. The first movie, I got to be honest, it's not terrible. Like I don't know,
Uh-huh,
it's weird because a lot of people act like it's one of the worst written superhero movies. It's just not very good. But I mean, I think like it's watchable though.
Yeah, Fantastic Four, it is still very much watchable to me. It is those movie. It's one of those movies that I could probably put on in the background, constantly, kind of look back and keep up with it and kind of watch and just enjoy it. It feels very much like a safe, family-friendly Fantastic Four movie where you're not getting too much out of it. But I feel like for the most part, everybody really did their job. I still think the work on The Thing by Michael,
Mhm.
I can't remember his last name, Chickless or something like that. I thought he did great work. I thought the design for the thing actually looked pretty good. Probably still one of the better ones that I've seen. I mean, Chris Evans is. I mean, I honestly felt like everybody did a pretty solid job. Even though it is a pretty weak film in of itself, there is just something fun loving still about it that's kind of hard to turn away from it. So I don't think it's as bad as people definitely think of it is, but it's definitely the best out of like all the Fantastic Four movies that we've gotten up until this point.
Yeah. And yeah, just to add on to what you were saying, I agree. The costume for the thing doesn't get enough credit and it really needs more because that's one of the most impressive like prosthetic costumes like in a Hollywood movie. So I know it's not going to happen with an MCU version of the thing, but it would be really cool if they went practical with the thing again.
It would be pretty cool. I'm worried that they would go more Korg than anything.
Mhm.
But I would love to see. I would definitely love to see a more practical suit. Maybe clearly with some CGI enhancements. But I would love to see a practical thing suit for sure. All right, Stuart. I think other than that, that will wrap it up for us. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. We got all through all of our live viewer questions. A couple other questions though coming in from Datilla. Did you watch the Royal Rumble, Adam? I'd like to know your thoughts on the winners. I have not watched the Royal Rumble yet. Just kind of got kind of busy around here yesterday trying to prep for today's show. The girlfriend was out for a few hours, so I was watching baby Noah by myself, putting him to sleep, trying to, feed him and things like that. So life happened. So I have not had the opportunity to check it out yet. Although I have been spoiled by plenty. Like I know who the winner of the Women's Royal Rumble is. I believe I know the winner of Bobby Lashley versus Brock Lesnar. But those are all the results that I know. Maybe the Roman Reigns and Rollins, but those are all the results that I know. So I do want to still watch it despite some of the negative reviews and comments that I've heard. She says it's a 4-hour pay-per-view. I can't imagine that, considering how a lot of people have been saying. Again, I haven't watched it myself, but considering how many people are saying it was weak, it wasn't a really good Royal Rumble. The fact of having to sit through 4 hours of that shit, I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry. But I'm a little bit bummed that it was a little bit of a letdown, according to other people. Again, that's just what I hear. I haven't watched it myself, but I probably will be checking it out today, maybe in between some of the football games and after for sure. But you don't watch wrestling, right, Stuart?
I don't keep up with it, but like, yeah, I haven't done this since pre-COVID. But if like there's ever like kind of a hangout party where everyone's watching wrestling, I usually love joining those. I love watching wrestling with other people.
Yeah, me
It's
too.
just that ever since COVID, it's just like I haven't had opportunities to like set up a night for watching it. So it's just like I haven't been keeping up with it because of that.
Yeah, one of my work managers, Ray, he's a big wrestling fan. He's actually the one that got me back into wrestling again, maybe about like 6, 7 years ago. But we used to hang out for a lot of the pay-per-view events and stuff that he would watch. So he would invite me over for like a lot of the big four events, Survivor Series, SummerSlam, Royal Rumble, and WrestleMania type of thing. And we ordered big pizzas, we just get some alcohol, smoke a bit sort of thing. I mean, it was always a great time getting an opportunity to hang out. It's always fun with a group of people watching
Yeah.
wrestling. And so I do miss doing that, especially with pre-pandemic. So maybe I'll have to find some other friends around the DFW area that love wrestling and start going to other people's houses and checking out some wrestling again. Because I even got my girlfriend into it also. So it is pretty fun. She says, I felt bad for everyone on the East Coast who had to sit through the pay-per-view. They should have started it early because it didn't end till midnight Eastern time. Yeah, that's a long time. On another note, she does say, who can forget the Mario Brothers movie from the 90s? As cheesy as it was, I liked it. I do remember seeing the Mario Brothers in the theaters. My poor uncle had to take me to the movies to go see that. So God bless him for wasting his life to please me as a young man. But yeah, I try to forget that. It's funny because I got my hair cut, Stuart, like a couple of weeks ago. And I'm so used to having my fro that when I came back home and I washed it and I saw how much less hair I had on my head looked so tiny. And I kept joking with the girlfriend. I was like, man, I feel like a Koopa from fucking Mario Brothers, like the body, but this little shrunken
Mhm.
head. I just kept looking at myself in the mirror like, yeah, I look too much like a Koopa for sure.
I'll say this though, even though like the Mario movie isn't very good, the costumes and just like overall the way it was filmed is pretty impressive. I still have to say, like you're looking back on it years later.
Yeah, I haven't watched it, I believe, since I was a kid, honestly. It's been, it might have been on once in the background, once or twice in the background, and I never finished watching it all the way through again, but it's definitely been a minute. But I think for me, I was always a big fan of John Leguizamo. And so I think that's probably another one of the reasons why I definitely wanted to check out that movie as a kid. But all right, guys. Other than that, though, I think that will wrap up all of our live viewer questions today. So thank you very much, Stuart, for certainly joining me, man. It's always good to bounce some of these articles and get your thoughts on a lot of these topics.
Yeah, I always love talking about these.
But guys, listen, remember, if you ever have any live viewer questions, you can always submit them over at any time to aplusopinions@gmail.com. Again, aplusopinions@gmail.com. Feel free to submit them over anytime during the week. If you watch a movie, you're currently involved in a television series, if you've heard some news, some rumors and theories you guys want to go ahead and talk about, feel free to always submit your questions and comments over. Other than that, Stuart, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you, sir? I think you're muted.
You guys can find me on Twitter at TurboStew01.
And I think since this is the last week of football, I believe next weekend, Stuart, would you be cool with the idea of moving our weekly time to noon?
Oh, I'd love to have an extra hour of sleep.
All right, so we'll definitely try and go back to that time period. So guys, remember, beginning next week, since the football season is officially over outside of the Super Bowl, we will be moving our time slot back to Sunday at noon Central Time. I feel like we usually only move it during the football season to 11 a.m. So those definitely look for us at noon beginning this next Sunday. But guys, if you want to follow us on social media, you can do so right up here at A Plus Opinions. Very active over on our Twitter page, along with our main Facebook page for you guys. That's where we get all of our topics. If you want to follow us on Facebook, we keep you up to date throughout the week, posting news articles, posters, trailers, memes, theories, speculation. We definitely keep you guys posted. And then at the end of the week, we pull our 6 topics from there to definitely further talk about them with you guys. If you also want to go ahead and join us over on our Discord forum community, please go ahead and join our Discord. I will go ahead and put a link in the description box below where we continue a lot of these conversations over there on our Discord and talk about a plethora of other topics as well for you guys to definitely continue to grow our community outside of our YouTube and Facebook page. So other than that, guys, if you want to follow us on Instagram, you can certainly do so. But we will be back next week. But in the meantime, as always, do us a big favor, guys. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.